Better Hit the Mat podcast.
Hello everybody and welcome to episode 16 of Better Hit the Mat, allegedly a fitness podcast. If you have a beverage and you'd like to raise it with us, I'd say cheers.
Cheers.
I don't know how that became a thing, but it is. I'm drinking King Cobra tonight. It's very nice.
Ooh, talking about wife beater and watching your ass later on tonight.
Hey, this refined specialty.
That's malt liquor, right?
Don't know.
Does it come in 40 ounces with a hole about this big?
No, it comes
Like
in
funnel?
It comes in like a small champagne bottle, and you have to undo the cage and pop the cork to drink this.
Ooh.
I
And
don't
it's
think
beer.
we're talking about the same alcohol right now.
I don't
Probably
think
not.
so either.
Yeah. Here, Cobra is malt liquor. It's given to you in a brown bag and only a brown bag. It actually might be
Okay.
prepackaged in one. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
No,
They
here,
make those brown bags that perfect size for 42. There's nothing else you can put in that bag at all besides a 40,
Well, maybe
What?
a dildo.
depending on the size.
There we go.
it
Depending
has
on the
one
beer.
thing in common because it is what you guys call a 40. The standard normal Cobra bottles are bigger than your average bottle of beer, which is probably that sort of size. And normal bottles are more your Bud bottle size. That's normal for most. But Cobra is famous as the beer that you get on tap when you go to an Indian restaurant. You either get Cobra or you get Kingfisher, and it is the perfect curry accompaniment beer. They then started doing King Cobra, which is like super double refined. I don't know what the process is, but it's crisp and sharp, and it's just a quality beer, and it's like 10 quid a bottle. So I decided to treat myself tonight.
Nice.
Hey, boys, is 10 quid expensive or cheap?
10
I
quid,
don't
that
even
would be $10. So, I mean, American, it's like $14, but
14
What's-
bucks. Okay,
What's the exchange rate right now?
well,
It's
okay.
usually
So
around there.
Hayden's $5 class is
$7.50.
$7 USD.
Okay,
Yeah,
so-
cool.
Okay.
Did he give you that rate? No, I'm going to go to...
That's a PayPal thing.
That's
Okay,
PayPal thing.
okay, fine.
And
fair
then
enough.
transfer from
He actually
bank, I
shorted
think, is
himself.
40.
I actually paid him a little more because I was like, dude, you shorted yourself on the exchange rate. So I bumped it up.
Yeah, I always bump it up
Extra
as well.
Yeah, like, he makes me feel horrible. The head of certification of DDP Yoga worldwide charges less for his classes than I do.
Yeah.
I
But you
just
also
done
offer-
myself out of a load of students.
You have 3 offerings a week. He has a single.
So he should be charging more for that one opportunity. Like, hey, that's fine. Oh, plus, like, you know, probably a higher demand than we have as well.
But it's definitely
yeah.
worth checking out. Wednesdays at 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, American. So, good stuff.
Yeah. All the best people teach on a Wednesday.
I think that's everybody here. So, that's good.
Yeah. Phew!
Twice.
Anyway, so
Twice.
ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen, we are shaking the tree a little bit. We are mixing things up a little bit, and we're changing some stuff around. You know, keep it fresh, keep it cool, keep it short. So our show times were getting longer and longer and longer, and we've decided we're gonna try and pare it back a little bit for you guys. So now I have to live up to that. As such, we will not be weekly reading out the previous week's feedback, mainly because you've only had 4 days to listen to the damn show before we release the next one because of the scheduling. So what we're going to be doing is doing like mailbag episodes. So we'll collect a few bits of feedback and we'll just make it a thing maybe once every 3 or 4 shows. About that.
Yeah, I think that's probably your best bet. It's probably going to be every 6 weeks, give or take, so you get 3 episodes of material to pull from. We're also going to hopefully put out some feelers maybe 2 weeks before where we have like, you know, hey, you guys have 10 days to get something in, whether it's through email, direct message, any of us on Facebook. We can usually pull the video, you know, if you're going to do video there, if you got anything you want to feature, or if you want to cheap plug something and we think it's worth mentioning, shoot us, shoot us what you want to do, and we'll do our best to put it out there as well. It's gonna open up a lot of stuff. It's gonna hopefully open up about 10 to 15 minutes every show of Boz not having a cut. Travis will have more time to figure out how to pronounce people's last names. Tom will not have to read about how bad he sucks every
True.
single week.
That's got to be harder
for
to
you,
solve.
buddy.
Travis
This
is
is for
frozen
you,
again on
Tom.
my screen, guys.
Not for
Travis
you,
is
but-
frozen. I don't know what's happening with Travis, but he's frozen. And but more importantly, guys, is it'll potentially give us a little time off too, because we can hopefully knock out an episode every now and again and just throw out a mailbag episode. Or if we all have something planned or one of us can't make it, it's going to give us a little bit more content, and a little bit more flexibility as far as our schedule goes. And from there, hopefully it'll also hopefully help feature some new people and not just the same people over and over. Outside of maybe Kenny Dunn, in which case every time Kenny sends us something, we're probably going to play it, and you're going to deal with it.
It's funny you should mention that. Look!
Keto brick. Thousand calories. Tear like a savage. Gotcha. Oh, yeah!
He said that spit out at the end was the genuine reaction to the flavor of that thing.
Oh wow.
My
That's funny
favorite part of
because
that.
I about spit when he did that. I think I was eating lunch at the time. But it's hilarious.
He
totally
rips open the
unexpected.
package and then pulls out the brick, and damn well he did not expect it to be wrapped
Yes,
again.
I was going to say the same. I was like, shit, gotta keep going. And also, he can't see shit because of the tape on his glasses.
That's how you can see him try to hide it. Like, nope, I meant for this to be wrapped twice.
It's gonna happen.
Two things though. I was disappointed. One, that when it said "rip like a savage," I thought he was going to come out dressed as Justin Dobbins.
He had me thinking, that's
Who?
for sure. He did have me thinking, that's for sure.
And I can't remember what the other one was. No, it was his push-ups. I called him on this in our group anyway. Don't put your hands behind your head, people, if you're doing sit-ups. Sit-ups, not push-ups.
Here we go, Technique Tuesday. You can if you do it properly.
Yes. But
Yeah,
I
you
know
just-
that a lot of people.
But people
Hands
don't-
right by the ears. Don't grab your head, but you can put your hands here.
Everyone gets lazy and does that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Tuck that chin.
Yeah, there are so many things. I mean, it's just like anything else. All the proper form in the world, it's just like it really proper form. It's just to help you get the most out of the motion. And some people they'll do sit-ups and they put their arms in front of them. But what they use those arms for is they use it as a pendulum.
Yes.
So now
Oh, yeah.
they're using
Yeah,
one,
for
and
sure.
you're also
Well-
not doing anything good for you there. So it's just like it's
Get
finding
up,
that
right?
exactly. So
Do 40
I
steps like that.
mean, how do you guys do sit? I do when I do
I don't.
crunches. I don't do
I don't do 'em.
sit-ups. I do like a full body crunch, and I always do them with my hands under my glutes to prevent me from cheating. Because I'll get lazy. Like maybe not the first 20, but everything after that, it'll get lazy and form will start to go.
Well,
out
I
the
do
door.
that. I do that as well because anytime my legs are extended and then they get lower to the ground, it puts a little pressure on my
Your lower
lower.
back.
It's kind of a trigger for my L4, L4, L5. So I do put my hands under my hips as well. But I do a crescent body hold. So it's kind of
Yeah.
like a crunch to where your shoulders are off the mat and your legs are up. You hold that. That's, in my mind, that's 10 times better
It's torture.
than sit-ups.
It's
Yeah.
absolute torture.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah, I just personally, I mean, there was a whole thing, I don't know what, 25, maybe 30 years ago, where everyone was like, you shouldn't do sit-ups full range because you were just moving that point at the bottom of your spine upright and through a full range.
Wear and tear.
And also, when you get to here, and then you go forward to here. That bit, you're not actually doing anything. All you need to do to work is to go from flat to like halfway up. So we used to do like half crunches. But
yeah, like shoulders off the mat.
I've always kept that in mind. And then same with like leg raises as well. If you bring leg raises all the way up and all that, it does put a lot of strain on my lower back. So I like to just hold them within a range and move them that way. And as long as my abs are killing me by the end of it, and my back doesn't hurt, I think I've done all right. So it's just personal.
Absolutely. So Travis, obviously do our weekly check-in here for Smitty's Run. Last we talked, you had basically ran out of medals, and you were trying to see if you were going to even do a second run. So what's going on there?
I did run out of medals, and we ordered a second round. I was tossing up 10 maybe, and then I just went ahead and bought 20 more. And we're actually at 66 runners now set up.
Oh, nice.
Awesome,
yeah,
man.
so
I'm drinking to that.
yeah, definitely. Cheers to everyone out there. That's awesome. So we have 66 runners and well over 100 shirts and hoodies, sold as well. So that's awesome thing. So one additional thing that we're doing with the race is on Smitty's Run Facebook page, I'm going to make an announcement. My good friend Scott French, I was talking to him about getting some necklaces from him. I wanted to do an idea. I'm going to do a first, second, and third place for the race, but it's not going to be time based. I want everybody to feel included, but just to kind of show you, if you can kind of see, it's going to be something similar to this. And on the back, it's going to have first annual Smitty's Run. But basically what we're going to do is I'm going to put everybody's name who participated in, and it's going to go into a drawing, and the first 3 people that I draw are going to get a Smitty's Run necklace sent out to them.
Awesome.
Good idea.
Yeah.
It's a good thing you didn't do it on time, because then you would have only had a second and third place, because Boz would have won.
Number one.
Exactly.
I will take the longest.
Well, also too, there's several reasons we're not doing it for time. Number one, of course, my good friend Boz up in the corner there, bless his heart. He's gonna do that Zoom class that you're stuck now. You have people reaching out and asking about it. So
Absolutely.
that's awesome. Marcel's gonna be doing a bike ride. I wanted everybody included, and but we still are gonna do a post where you can post your times, or if you ran, your pictures, all that kind of jazz.
Yeah, and please do, we keep throwing out those hashtags, Built Smitty's Tough and Smitty's Run. But please record yourself running. Take pictures of yourself running. We need that content. We want to build stuff with that content for next year and going forward. So send us your before and after pictures. Send us your Map My Run images if you're using that, or Strava, or any of those those apps. Boss, please do a Map My Run of you on a yoga mat, so it's just
around the room.
That would be incredible. But
I'll do your time lapse or something.
Yeah, exactly. Time lapses are great. Like if you've got a GoPro, I know you and Robin, I think, recorded last time. I don't know how you did it. If you ran like with a camera in front of you, I'm sure you looked like a fool. You did, didn't you?
I did. I ran, but here's the deal: we ran on our farm.
Right.
The fence line is like a mile around, so basically, we ran just around the fence line. And so, yeah, I had the GoPro. Well, the funny thing is, my supervisor saw that video. He said, "How in the world did you convince your wife to run in front of you the whole time with the camera? Like,
for them views."
She's a trooper.
Yeah. So yeah, if you've got action cams, record your route. I'll be recording my ride, probably behind me with the kids, and then also in front, so we'll get a full video there. But there's a lot that we can do with that content for future runs, so please be sure to record that. Or
and the VR headset lets me record Beat Saber as well.
There you go. And I think there's an opportunity to show how virtual it actually can be. So
yes, yeah, for sure.
And then I know, Tom, you'd recently posted a video of your 14-week transformation that you kind of teased a little bit a few weeks back.
I did. Yeah, so I finally got the full transformation video out. So if you guys have known, I did a 14-week DDPY Jacked transformation. So I did a transformation just using jack straps for the first time. So nothing else besides jacked workouts using the jack strap. So that's been posted up on, there's the picture, but that's the full video.
Handsome boy.
Handsome boy. So DDPY yoga the Facebook page. It's on there. It's also on the Be Unstoppable athletic page. You can find that everywhere. But it's been posted. We got a lot of good responses, lots of views, which is good. But if you wanted to know exactly what I did during that time period and what my results were, I was pretty shocked. Like I said, I didn't lift weights at all. And I, at the end of the day, ended up gaining 3 pounds of muscle, according to the InBody scan, not doing any sort of weight training. So I was a little untrained when we first started. And then, yeah, it was pretty shocking. So I'm sold on BFR, and you guys know I'm certified. So if you guys have questions or concerns, you can bring that up to me. But pretty cool experiment. Glad I did it. I'm glad they just didn't give the strap to somebody and just say, here, just make some results and tell us how awesome it is. I mean, I went out there to disprove that there was any sort of validity to BFR, and I actually, found out there's a lot of great uses for it. So in the future, someday, maybe we'll do a talk on BFR. In here, I've been doing some seminars with Sarah Fortune. We're both certified in BFR. So it's been a pretty fun experience. But if you guys want to, check out that video. And I've had 2 people reach out to me. They want to do their own transformation in the same way. So if anybody's interested in doing that sort of thing, let me know. I'll coach you through it. We'll go from day 1 all the way through. And we'll see if you guys have the same sort of response that I had, which is pretty cool.
And we'll be sure to link that video in this, as well as the audio version. There'll be links to that YouTube video. The one thing that stands out to me on your before and after, Tom, is when you'd started. Obviously you were built, but you weren't jacked by any means, to use that word. But in your after, you had glasses. Does BFR affect your vision?
It did, unfortunately. So I was perfect vision when I first started. I guess because of the restriction of blood flow.
You'll go blind. You'll go blind.
Total optic nerve degeneration.
So restricting blood flow in certain areas does make you go blind then, huh?
It was horrible. So of all things to get out of that, that's killing me. That's so funny that you found that.
And we did forget to tell you that this week he is broadcasting from Moline. Sorry, that's true. We can't do anything about it.
Am I still having problems?
It could be worse.
Okay.
No, now you're not actually talking about the bit you want to talk about. It's fine. But your whole BFR bit was like talking to a Dalek.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
I think we heard... I understood what you said, so I'm sure the listeners will.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
And then, Boz, I got a bone to pick with you. I put on this shirt, and you haven't even fucking mentioned it. But,
no, I did that on purpose.
Wow.
I was wondering how long it was going to take.
Nah, here's the cool thing. Is
thank you, buddy.
I didn't actually order this. I made it myself because I refused to give you money. So that's right. So if you guys want to order any Back on Track living, go ahead and hit me up at Burn the Boats Fitness on Instagram.
There you go.
I literally did make this T-shirt myself.
You're going to have a lot for sale. You're going to have a bootleg of this? You made that?
In order to get the green to work, I had to bleach it first. So I painted bleach on, and then I painted it with a felt tip. So yeah, that's quality work, that is. And you can see it went a bit wrong on the top shelf. Top shoulder.
But speaking of bones to pick for real, we had some pretty good feedback on the Black Crow. Everybody seemed to enjoy the video, enjoy your costume changes outside of Justin Dobbins, but he doesn't like anything.
I do.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, he likes meat. And maybe next time we do a Black Crow video, we can grill some sirloin or something in the background. Yeah. Give him something to look at. But by now,
fall into a piece of steak. That'll be your block.
Landing platform.
Big old piece of steak.
But by now, the full video should be up on the YouTube channel. We'll also probably end up posting it on social media. So where we actually kind of try and do a little bit of a walkthrough, a little bit of a tutorial. And so hopefully you can get something out of that. And let's see some before and afters. If you like, let's see where you start and give it 30 days where you work on it maybe 2 or 3 times a week. And let's see where you are after 4 weeks or so. We'd love to see that. Love to see some improvements. And show Boz some proper form.
Please do.
Sorry.
Put me to shame. I'm used to it here.
Yeah, somebody in the Facebook group goes, how do you how did they phrase it? They're like, how do you make sure people stay accountable? And because I guess they had planned on starting this program with a friend, and it was going good for about a week, and they kept going, but the friend stopped. And I said, I generally just publicly shame them. And then I tagged Kenny and Jason. And then they just totally ran with the joke, and they're like, oh, absolutely. He blasts us publicly all the time. And then some lady comes in. She's like, that's not very nice. You shouldn't shame people.
We are getting a rep, aren't we, for being DDP Yoga group trolls because there was someone else put in, like, how do I do this? Is it diet, exercise? Do I eat more? Do I eat less? Do I work out more? Do I work out less? And I just replied, yes.
Yes.
Sorry,
then there was another one that said, hey, let's talk nutrition. And Boz just said, no.
I loved it.
I think I just put let's not, because I'm like, this feed is going to be locked down. Just don't even start. But people don't know not to ask, do they?
That was my favorite one. Let's not.
Oh yeah.
Just you corrupted me, you guys. I used to be helpful and nice to people.
I will say that Beverly told me that she appreciates the levity we bring to the group. So as long as one admin or moderator is fine with it, I'm going.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, she did. She said, yeah.
But
you know what though? I think that as an admin or a moderator, you do have to play things in a black and white. You know, you can't live in gray areas because then it looks like preferential treatment or things like that. And sometimes you want to call a dumbass, but they don't get to. So.
Right.
Maybe we can.
I wouldn't go that far, but I will just sort of interject now and go, don't start it, please, just don't.
Absolutely.
So if you're new to this and you're new to the DDP Yoga Facebook group, whatever you do, don't ask 57,500 people what you should eat to be healthy.
Exactly. And if you do want to know something. And if you do want to ask a question, before you do ask, as with every Facebook group page, there is a search button.
Yes.
Hit that search button and type Tom Wallant, and you will find him.
Or you can just Google Better Hit the Mat podcast, and you'll find out everything you ever needed to know about nutrition. In how many episodes have we done? Done. Just listen to them all. It's all in there.
There you go.
A couple.
There's just a couple.
Yeah, man, it's kept it interesting, and it's always interesting because, you know, like you had mentioned, the search bars. Every year he puts out a new Unstoppable challenge, so you get a whole new influx of people. Yeah, and and we see this is now what, year 3 where we've seen these people come through, and you're seeing the same questions. And I swear to God, if I see another what heart rate monitor should I use? Oh, it doesn't matter. They all suck, people. It doesn't matter what you buy.
I've got a new one.
They're not gonna not connect sometimes. I have a Wahoo. I've never had issues with it. The last week, I've had crazy issues, and then the last 2 days, it's been perfect.
I've solved it. You just like this is it now. This is breaking news. Buy a watch, and then put a finger on your wrist like this, and just work out like that. And do a bit of maths, and that'll work for you. That's flawless. That is.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's what's crazy is the people that are like, I was gonna work out and I couldn't get my monitor to connect.
Okay. Hear that one a lot.
Yeah.
So
work out. Never
anyways.
rely on the technology. Exactly.
That's all we're saying. Work out anyways. Or I worked out and then it didn't save my workout. You'll be okay.
Mm-hmm.
In all honesty,
run it back. Or
because guess what did save your workout? Your body. You know.
Yeah. Many times I got set up for a class. I've been super pumped, super hyped, really enthusiastic. I'm going to teach this class. And then I can't get my heart rate to work. And it's 5 minutes. I'm getting annoyed. It's now past start time. I'll be with you in a minute, guys. I'm embarrassed. It's not working. I can't get it. Do you know, now I just don't let it. I just, on my watch, just start a thing so I can see what my heart rate is. Forget it. Just,
with it.
Yeah.
I let it get my mood down so many times. It's just not worth it. It's just technology.
So been there a few times.
Quit letting petty things get in the way of you hitting the mat, man. Just do it. Just do it.
Hit the mat.
Hit the mat.
So are you guys ready to bring on our guest?
Let's do it.
Let's go.
All right, guys. Well, this week's guest is Mark DeCicco. He's one of our more recent DDPY success stories, and he's now on a mission to help others make positive changes in their lives. So welcome, Mark DeCicco.
Put him in the right place.
Hey! Look
How'd you get that?
Winner. Award-winning Mark DeCicco.
Wow.
I've already won the race. You guys don't even have to run because I'm already the grand champion of the Smitty's Run. And this is an Easter chocolate version of the actual.
Breaking news, folks! Smitty's Run is canceled.
Canceled. My 47-minute 5K time, unbeatable. So sorry, guys. Sorry, Tom.
Can't compete with that.
Very, very proud of you, pal.
Listen,
exciting.
you guys do the best you can, but you've lost already. So
Is that good?
You've lost.
I don't know what 47 minutes is in UK time. How do seconds work over there, boss?
The metric. Obviously,
it's all metric.
Yeah,
It's all
He measures his time in ounces. That's the thing. It's weird.
It's because metric works on series of 10. It's 100 seconds per minute. So
yeah, yes.
It's like Canadian football. It's the same idea. You can't really measure yards and time. It's a whole thing. So what's up, fellas? What's going on, nerds?
Cheers! Welcome to the show.
Cheers, pal.
Cheers.
Right?
Cheers.
This is my cozy here. I got water in here.
Is that a Dunkin' Donuts koozie?
It's a Dunkin' Donuts. It's a Dunkin' Donuts cozy on my Dunkin'
That
Donuts.
is
Sponsored by
cool.
Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah, it keeps the condensation off of the desk and
This is
things
my
I put
move.
it down on.
Yeah,
that's always a
money.
disaster.
You just said their name 3 times on the show. That's a
actually,
hopefully they'll
if he
give me
were
free
sponsored,
latte.
he would know that they're trying to rebrand purely as Dunkin' right now.
Right.
They are
Never
trying to
follow-
move away from donuts.
They are. They don't want the
They want to be
donuts
known
in
as a
there.
coffee shop, as pastries, as
do.
and breakfast sandwiches and all that. They are fully rebranding. So
Interesting.
It's my
Salads.
go-to for the lattes. You guys have that in the UK, right? You have Dunkin' lattes. You guys do that out there?
Dunkin' lattes. Only if your name's Duncan and you've got them to put your name on your cup at Starbucks.
All right. Well, that's close enough. Close enough. Same idea.
And there are like as many Starbucks as there are in America. I've never seen so many as the time that I spent in London.
Not just London, everywhere.
Right, well, where was I, Boz? I had sent you. I was in Kensington.
Yep.
Or off of Kensington, and we were right next to a grocery store which had a Starbucks, and then across the street from my flat was a Starbucks, and then on that corner was a Starbucks.
Yep.
So within about 15 buildings, we had 4 Starbucks accessible to us. It was just unreal.
And of course, we've been in lockdown for so long. Pretty much the only place you can drive through and get like a nice coffee and some half decent food would be a Starbucks, because it's that or McDonald's or KFC. So. Yeah.
Do they have Taco Bells over there yet? I couldn't
No.
find a Taco Bell when we were there.
And there's a couple in London, some of the big cities, but nowhere else.
Yeah,
That's probably safer for the plumbing in old London town.
We do have an amazing franchise, which I hope it starts to grow a bit more, from Germany, which is Frankfurters and sauerkraut and that kind of stuff. And it is called Hermann Sie German. And we went there once, and they got like a downstairs seating area. So we bought our hot dogs and our whatevers, and we went down there. I shit you not. Big projector screen TV playing reruns of Baywatch back to back, because the Germans love David Hasselhoff.
They love
love
Hasselhoff.
him.
At that
You don't
point,
Hasselhoff.
It's
You don't
yeah,
Hasselhoff.
it's just a stereotype. I love it. I'm a big fan. And that sounds like the worst and best cartoon you could watch on like Adult Swim.
Hasselhoff brought freedom to Germany. A lot of people don't know that, but if he hadn't
did.
been there to bring the wall down, single-handedly brought the wall down. That's They don't teach that in history class here in America, but it's a real thing. You guys know in the UK, that's a
Wearing
real
a
thing.
piano scarf too.
Yeah,
Good
he
fashion choice.
Brought the whole thing down, all of it.
Done.
It was years and years of oppression, and he came in and just sang his way through to freedom. And that's what America's
Who knew it
about.
only
We
took
bring our
4 minutes
freedom.
and 24 seconds.
Well, it
By the way,
takes-
guys, that song will be added to the latest hype mix.
It's a great idea.
And he didn't even use the car, which is the most impressive thing. But yeah.
No kit. Yeah.
So, Mark, obviously, like Tom's intro said, you're probably one of the more recent, DDPY success stories. Obviously, these things pop up. It feels like every 3 months we've got a new, flavor of the month, if you will, of people that are just killing it, and people just kind of come out of the woodwork.
Not to belittle your efforts.
No, just a run-of-the-mill Dunkin' latte coming through. That's fine.
That's right.
That's all right.
I mean,
You got 32 flavors coming through.
exactly. Well, that's Baskins, buddy.
That's Baskin,
Dunkin'.
but that's all right.
But,
It's Southern.
yeah,
He doesn't understand.
Don't talk to former fat kid about Baskins.
Yeah,
Let's
we
go.
know about the flavors. I'll tell you about the flavors.
I could probably name them alphabetically backwards. If
Hey, I
that
have a
was
question about
DUI test,
Baskins.
I would have passed.
Do you still have 2001 A Spice Odyssey over there?
Like, as in, does that exist?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I hope so.
I don't even know what that is.
There was like 2 places in the whole of the UK where you could buy Baskin's ice cream. One of them was a cinema in Milton Keynes, which is somewhere.
All of that
And-
sounded made up. Those words don't even sound real. Whatever that was. Wherever that place you said was, might as well have been Mars. That doesn't sound like a place that exists. On Kilkenny Frickaday. What? What is that? That is like made up UK talk. Those aren't real places.
If
Someone
there's
Google
one
that.
town American people should know, it is Milton Keynes, because it's the only one we've ever built which uses your grid structure of building places.
Oh, that's
straight
terrible.
roads.
Why
Yeah.
would you take from us in terms of building? That's awful. You guys have been around like a lot longer. You should probably have figured out architecture by now.
Yeah, but we did it better because you have stop signs and four-way stops. We stuck a roundabout on every single one of those intersections. It's chaos. Anyway, they had a Baskin Robbins at this cinema, which is where I saw the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon for the first time. Fun fact. And I discovered this ice cream flavor, 2001, A Spice Odyssey, and it had a ribbon of red cinnamon syrup through the middle of the ice cream, and it blew your face off. And I've never seen it since.
It probably blew your back out too. That sounds just filthy. So I mean that's a good segue into.
What does it have one? I don't know if they still have that available, but
we should Google it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Baskins are hard to find. They used to be with the Dunkin', so you could get a Baskin and a Dunkin' at the same time. So if you were really into health and fitness, you would go get your donuts and your ice cream at the same place. Which that was my gym before doing DDPY was Dunkin'. So
funny thing is that was most recently the flavor of the month.
Boz he's totally plugged into this thing. He's plugged into what's going on in the Baskin Robbins universe.
No, you just talk amongst yourself. I'm just buying plane tickets.
He's ordering 20 pints.
How long does dry ice last?
Can you get pints? Is that the measurement that you guys use for ice cream? So I'm a flavor of the month. I'm 20,001 Leagues Under the Sea Space Odyssey flavored weight loss. So I've been doing DDPY since end of 2019, and it's changed my life in all seriousness. And I was in the process of meeting with doctors to have bariatric surgery. So I know a lot of people have a lot of different opinions about bariatric surgery, and certainly I've heard it all. And people can think what they want and say what they want about it. And it's certainly not for everyone. And I'm not coming on here to say everyone should or shouldn't. Everyone is on their own journey, and so do what you need to do. But for me, I was in the process of trying to get that going, and I had to do a 6-month series of tests and meetings and all kinds of appointments with doctors, and I had to lose a certain amount of weight. And so at first it was 10% of my body weight. So I started out at 420 pounds. And so I had to lose, they told me 10% of my body weight. So doing the math quick, Dr. Tom, that's
95 pounds.
Yep. So that's 21 pounds. So I had to lose 21 pounds. So I was like, okay, I can lose 21 pounds. That's something I can probably do. I'll just clean up my eating. I'll try to walk a little bit more, try to get to the 21 pounds lost, get to 400. I'd be all right. So I started doing those things, started trying to lose weight on my own, just watching what I was eating and trying to increase my activity levels. And, I lost about 6 pounds on my own. And, but I had 6 months to lose the 20. So I was like, not quite at 20, but I had this 3-month appointment about halfway through the 6. And I met with the PA, who was a lovely woman. She was very kind, and she sat with me, and she's probably seen people fail at this. And, so she was really trying to be nice to me and encouraging. And she said, we just had a meeting. All of our doctors have gotten together. They've done some studies on this, and they've pulled some data from people who have had the surgery. And what we've decided is people have to lose actually 20% of their weight in order to 10%. So my numbers are all wrong. So you're going to have to take it back.
5% first, 5%
first. Now it's 10. So now we're to 42 pounds. So 42 pounds lost on 420 is a lot of weight. So she's like, you got to lose 42 pounds basically before we'll even consider you for the surgery. And I was like, really depressed. And so I left on like the lowest note possible. It was right around Thanksgiving. And I was like, this is like the worst possible news. And I was tearing up, and I was like, I'm really putting an effort in here. I'm really trying. I want to lose the weight. And so I had circled around DDPY for a while, and I had friends who had been successful with it, who had done it. One of my friends who's one of the Viking Raiders, Ivar at WWE, he'd done it successfully. He was somebody who would preach it to me and said,
You're friends with a member of War Machine?
I am, yes. And so that actually is a good story, because he was down at the PC, and he had Dallas call me, which is a great story, which I promise I will tell. But So I was aware of it. I was like on Facebook. I'd seen Arthur's video. I had seen Vance's videos. I knew what the deal was. I knew that this was something that big guys could use to lose weight. And so I was like, all right, I used to be pretty athletic when I was younger. I need to try something. This looks accessible. I'm gonna look into it. And so I downloaded the app. I paid for a year that night when I got home, and I said, something has to change here. I got to get to work. And so I did. And so I started out in energy. I modified like crazy. He said, go in a safety zone. I was like, I can't do that. My belly's too big. Like there was no scenario where I could comfortably get in a safety zone. He's like, it's your favorite position. I'm like, I can't do it. So screw you in your favorite position. I literally can't get into that, whatever that is. Like I can't, my stomach was so big that when I put my hands down to try to do it, it was in the way. I couldn't even breathe. So I did energy and, I was like, why is there a standing split in here? Like I literally can't do anything. And you're telling me to do a standing split. Why is this an energy? And I'd get angry, but I was like, well, he tells me to modify. So I'm just going to lean forward. And that's what I did. I leaned forward and was like, I'm just going to lean forward and do that. And then I'll stand up. So I was very, very basic beginner when I started. And, but I could tell even on the 20 minutes in energy, I was like, this is something I can stick to. I can do it. I can hopefully see some progression and I can hopefully see some success. And so I did it pretty regularly. Followed the schedule. I'd add in a couple of things here and there, tried red hot core, tried fat burner, got to January and saw Dr. Tom's challenge. And I was like, this Dr. Tom seems like a nerd, but whatever, I'll check it out. We'll see what's going on. So I did it. And I did from that day to the day to my surgery. I did a workout. He's a sweet nerd. I did a workout every single day. And so I did every single day because there was this stupid Facebook group and it was a place where I was supposed to post workouts and it was supposed to keep me accountable. It did. And so I did it and I did a workout every single day with 5 weeks under my belt. And so that consistency, that accountability got me to the point where I was actually able to lose 30 pounds. And so I met with the doctor in January and said, listen, you don't need to do this at all. Like if you tell me no, I'm going to walk out of here and I'm still going to lose the weight and fuck you and fuck your nurse and fuck all you people. I'm going to lose this weight. She's a lovely lady,
but fuck her.
But all of them. She was lovely. She couldn't have been nicer. But fuck the whole medical industry. I don't care what any of you are going to do. I know people can lose weight doing this thing. And so I'm going to continue one way or the other. If you're going to take a chance on somebody, I'm your guy because I'm not going to come back here a failed case. I'm in this thing for the long haul. I'm doing the deal. So you either give me the surgery, which is fine, or you don't. And this was January of 20. And so he said, you know what? Yeah, we'll put you on the schedule. So they send me out to this other nurse who was not nice, who I'd run-ins with before, and she was condescending and she was a jerk. She was a scheduler. And so I met with her and she's like, looks like you haven't lost the 40 yet. So we're going to have you come back and weigh in. I said, the guy in there just told me he's giving me the surgery. She's like, yeah, well, you should probably lose some more weight. I'm like, I am really fat.
Punched her in the face.
And I am trying to lose weight. And you weigh 12 pounds and you're telling me about how much weight I need to lose. I've already lost 30. Get out of my face. So she told me basically, no, I had to come for a weigh-in 2 weeks later. So I went home and I was pissed. But I'm like, nope, I'm going to hit the mat and I'm going to murder this thing. I'm going to lose 40 pounds in 10 minutes. And I'm going to come back to this place. I don't care what I have to do.
I'm going out of the parking lot. I'll be right back.
I'm going out of the parking lot. I'm going to lose that 10 pounds. Right now, I'm going to chop an arm off, come back in, weigh myself, and I'll show you.
I'm going to beat you with it.
I'm going to hit you over the head with it. So she doesn't schedule me. She schedules me for a weigh-in 2 weeks from that date. So I'm like, okay. So I go home. I tell my wife. She's like, how'd it go? I'm like, I gave the doctor the spiel. He was ready to go. This other scheduling lady didn't give me the deal. So I go to work the next day. I get a call on the phone, and it's a scheduling lady. And she's got her tail between her legs. She says, I talked to the doctor, and I guess he did want to schedule you. And I was like, oh, did he? Did he now? I pretty much told you that, but fine. So then she got me scheduled. So they got me on the books for February 27th of 20. Now this is 2 weeks before COVID hits. So I'm in the hospital getting surgery 2 weeks before COVID. If anything had happened, if this had gotten pushed, if COVID had come in earlier, no surgery, nothing would have happened. So, it's a what if. What would have happened? Could I have been a Dobbins? Could I have been a Hines? Could I have been, a Ryan Nichols who lost all the weight not having the surgery? Hard to know. We don't know now. But I had the surgery, and it's changed my life. And so that and DDPY are the two things that have made the difference in my life. And so I have lost 180 pounds total from my highest. I'm 240 this morning. And that is because I've changed my relationship with the way that I eat. And I do DDPY every single day, and it's because of that stupid Dr. Tom Facebook group that makes me.
I'm going to stop you there real quick. Don't you dare fucking gloss over that. You threw it out there. That humble brag.
Whatever.
Bullshit.
It's a reality. It's 100. It's 180. It's 180.
Yeah, that's not that much. That's just a grown adult male. Yeah,
it's
right?
Exactly.
It's a full Dr. Tom.
Yep.
Exactly.
Cheers.
Yep.
I lost an entire
man.
Yes. And I saw yesterday my Facebook post of my actual the surgery date and me laying there on the table, and it was it took me back to I was in the mindset that I was going to do this thing, and I knew that once I had the tools to do it, I was going to be successful, and I knew, and the doctor and everybody was clear with me, the medical industry, Dr. Tom, your people, they're not good at talking to people about losing weight, and they're not good at explaining nutrition. And so you go to a doctor's appointment weighing 420 pounds, and you sit in a doctor's office, and they say things like, you should get more exercise, you should eat better. That's a nifty piece of information. So what you're saying is,
no one told me that before.
So I'm fat and I should lose weight now. And the way to do that is diet and exercise. This is the first time they should put that in a magazine or something. That's fascinating.
Write a book on that one.
Someone should write a book. This is interesting. You know, this is how I'm treated, as like I'm some sort of like I'm a broken person, or I'm somebody who doesn't know like how bad my problem is. I knew how bad my problem was. I was the one having to get out of the car. I was the one who, you know, had the sleep apnea so bad that I was like literally feeling like every day was work to just physically get around. So I'm fully aware of how fat I am. To help me is not to tell me how fat I am. That's not helpful. And so there's like this pity that happens, and also this like I'm ignorant. Like, I'm a pretty bright guy, and so I know what the issues are. Help me make an actual plan. And so the way that I was treated kind of along the way, even the doctor who was my surgeon was like, listen, like, this is a tool. Like, you could go back to eating the way that you ate, and like that'll be what it was. And the thing is, the way my body worked, like, I wasn't eating like a crazy person every single day. If I ate one bad meal a couple times a week, my whole metabolism was like, good, this is great, we're storing all this, and this is what we're going to do. Like, my metabolism was not working for me. And so exercise would have certainly helped that. Doing all of my DDPY certainly would have helped with that. But in terms of like getting my nutrition where it needed to be, I needed a complete overhaul. And that's what I've done. And so it's not easy. You know, anybody who thinks that like getting, bariatric surgery is going to change all of it. If you don't do the eating, like right now, I could eat whatever I wanted right now. And I don't, because I eat at a scheduled interval. I eat the exact same things basically every single day. And it's boring, it's routine, and there's nothing about it that's exciting. I don't take cool pictures on Instagram like Nichols does. I'm not on that level. But like, the stuff I eat isn't even as exciting as Nichols' stuff. Like, he has stuff and it looks great. I am the most boring. I have the most boring diet in the history of diets. There's nothing about it that's exciting. And it gets me fuel to get through the day. And that's how I operate now. And so I treat food like fuel. I don't treat it as a comfort. I don't treat it as a reward. I treat it as fuel. And it fuels my ability to do this other stuff, which is like bring this DDPY stuff to other people, which is where I'm at now. And if you'd have told me a year ago when I was laying on the table, literally 1 year ago and a day, if you had told me that I'd be sitting here talking to you guys about losing 180 pounds and going through my level 1 certification for DDP yoga, I would have laughed you out of the building. There's no scenario where even on my SmackDown goals that I had written down, did I have this on my bingo card? Not a chance. And so, I owe a lot of that to the community. I owe a lot of that to my accountability team, my Brotherhood boys, who are basically the dollar store version of you guys. I love them, but we're like the junior varsity you guys. So we don't have a podcast yet, but we're fun. But my boys, Kevin and Chris and Billy, those guys keep me on my toes, keep me, accountable. The same way, you guys bust each other's balls. We're on each other all the time, and that's what you got to do. Like, I need a group of guys around me who are like, "How'd you do today? What's your nutrition at? Where's your running at? How you doing with the workouts?"
It's rookie season. We could be taking some in. You never know.
True.
The
draft is coming up.
Right. It wasn't necessarily something that I had planned to talk about, but you kind of dove into gastric a bit more than I thought you might actually. And you prefaced it with, it's not for everybody and people have different opinions on it. And I think it's because there's a few outlooks. A lot of people look at it as that magic pill. Mm-hmm. And but I think with the way you described your approach to it showed that you are not most people in regards to that. The fact that you approached it with a 5 pound or a 5% and you wanted to crush it. And then you found out it was 10 and then you almost hit that. But you were also resigned to the fact that this lady wasn't going to let you get through. That bouncer said, she ain't moving the golden rope for you or whatever. And so you were just going to go home and you were going to keep going and you were going to do what it takes. So that right there shows you that you had it up here, and in your heart that you were going to change regardless. And so many people, I don't think, have that. And I think that it almost should become a requirement because you have to relearn everything when you get that done. Because if you don't, it does you no good. I have a grandma that had her stomach stapled and then she continued to eat like she was and she burst. And then she got a gastric sleeve and she continued to eat. This is many years later. And she ended up in the hospital both times with life-threatening issues because she refused to relearn and to readapt. And so there are plenty of people. Hell, we see it in the DDP yoga community of people talking about putting on weight after having gastric sleeve surgery because they didn't learn the right way. So I think that, you know, in your case, it was a tool to get you to a point, and it obviously probably helped accelerate it. But even then, I think even if you didn't have that, if you would have found this way of eating and you would have continued working like you were, you probably would have been in that 140-pound loss easily in that year.
Yeah, I mean, there's no scenario where I don't see this as a tool. And so, you know, anybody who approaches this as a real option for themselves, I don't want my story to be like, oh, well, he just went and got gastric bypass and just hung out and lost weight. That's not the scenario here. I literally changed everything about the way that I eat and everything about the way that I do my fitness. And that's complete overhaul. So, but I was resigned to do that regardless. So if that doctor had said to me end of January, look, you got to lose 40, you're at 30, we're not doing it. Hopefully I'd still be here at 120, 140 loss. And I'd be on my way to trying to win Dobbins medal and steal his belt. And, you know, that's fine. For me, I was so tired of being so big for so long. And so I had spent 20 plus years being just super, super fat. And I had lost 100 pounds twice in that span. So I knew what it took. I knew what the discipline needed to be. I had lost 100 pounds and I had gained back 150. And I had done that twice. And so I knew that I needed to do something that was sustainable. And that's where the DDPY stuff really comes in for me, and why I'm so passionate about it, and why you guys know that it's the real deal. That's why you're teaching it. This thing is available and accessible to people at any level. And so for me to come in where I did, not able to go in a safety zone, to do advanced now where I'm running through L1 practices and I'm taking people through the L1 and I'm doing that every single day. How does that happen? That happens because I consistently hit the mat and I consistently apply these principles across the board. And I don't just do it once in a while. I don't do it when it becomes convenient for me. This is a discipline level of living, both discipline on the mat and discipline in my eating. If you want to have what I have, you got to do that. And if you don't, you can, you know, try to take shortcuts and do whatever. But I think people think it's a shortcut. And I really want to dispel that myth that this is not, I just had gastric bypass surgery and weight just fell off me, because that is not my experience. I have had to work every single day. I haven't had a pizza. I haven't had an ice cream. I haven't had any of the things that I would have thrown down my face as a reward for losing weight or doing whatever. Like, that's not me now. That's not who I am.
No cupcake.
So
Zero.
Mark,
Zero.
What are your rewards now? Because this is always a great question. People ask this all the time. Is they, in their previous lives, reward themselves with food or alcohol or something that might not be on the healthy side? What are some things that you do to reward yourself? You're doing big things right now. I assume you're doing some stuff, but like, have you replaced that with anything on a different level?
You know, that's a great question. And for me, the key has been, I have used this time to really say, what do I actually want? And so what I want is to be healthy. And so I can honestly say that for probably one of the first times in my life, like, my health is the most important thing. And so, because that keeps me around for my wife, my daughter, my family who loves me. So the rewards are, my daughter looks at me and looks at a picture of me on the wall and goes, that's not even you. That's not you anymore. And that's my reward. My reward is, Daddy's about to go teach in the other room. Keep it down in there while you're playing your Switch. And she's like, yeah, you're going to go help some people. Yep.
Literally, my daughter right now is like, I got to keep it down because Dad's doing his podcast to help people.
And that's to help people. But that's what and that's like, so for me, like, I went from the guy that, like, she would have to explain in school was this, you know, my dad's really fat, and like have to hear it. Like, her friends would come up to me and be like, you're really fat. Like, because kids don't care. Kids will be like, wow, you're like huge. Yeah, dude, I'm 420, bro. Like, kids would say things like, oh, you're like Santa Claus. It's like, ho ho ho, motherfucker. Yes, you know, not this kid, but like yes, you know, like, so the rewards for me are in the ability to feel comfortable in my body in a way that I never have, in an ability to use my body in ways I haven't. So I know that's corny, and I know that seems like like something that's not like a tangible, like I can put it in my mouth and eat it kind of, you know, reward. But for me, that feeling is a very new feeling for me, and one that I'm grateful for, because it keeps me fueled up. And I see you guys, I see the people in the community who are continuing to push other people towards these goals and to inspire and to work. That for me is why I jumped into this L1 stuff, because it's like, I need to hand this thing off. I need to continue
It's a logical
to pay it
progression.
forward. It just makes sense to me that like this thing is available to people if they come and do it. And so I'm going to be a conduit for that, because if someone had come to me and done this with me, you know, my life would be different maybe if I'd have really come after this thing earlier. And it's like, so for people that aren't accessing this thing and are like now coming in and taking my workouts and going, wow, that was fun, that was neat, I didn't realize I was going to sweat this much. Like, you said this was yoga. I said, well, I didn't say it was yoga. I said it was DDP yoga. Yes. But yes, you know, so like you guys get this. And that's the piece for me where I feel that reward in my heart. And that's where it's like, you know, my daughter looking at me and knowing that I'm healthy now and that I'm going to be here for her. That for me is where all of this is. And so, you know, that a cake has never made me feel that way. Short term, perhaps. I've had some good cakes, but you know, a slice of pizza, and I live in the north, so I'm in New York, so pizza's much better here than wherever you clowns live. But
I hate all things Chicago, but deep dish pizza is pretty damn good.
It's like a different food though. It's like it's like a layered food.
It's like lasagna.
It's lasagna pizza. There's no such thing as bad pizza, just better pizza.
That's how I feel about cheesecake. No such thing as bad cheesecake.
Right.
Even the worst cheesecake.
No one's mad at it, right?
It's fantastic.
Right.
Controversial opinion incoming.
Ooh.
Pizza is the food equivalent of AC/DC.
No, boss. I don't think you've had pizza. You don't live in a place where pizza's a real food.
No, I will tell you this.
I've had pizza everywhere.
There's a place in Chicago, Ryan. There's a place in Chicago called Pequod's. You ever heard of that?
I have not.
You go there before they open. They literally have a line outside of the door, and it instantly goes from when they open, 45-minute, hour and a half wait.
Yeah, we have a Pepitos here that they have a 40-pound pizza.
That sounds
wow.
Sick. And that, you know, and Fat Ryan and Fat Mark would have torn that thing to shreds. I would have torn.
No shit. Went and saw Guardians of the Galaxy. Went and saw Guardians of the Galaxy, and I ate 16 pounds of pizza afterwards.
That's
Good
incredible.
God,
that's incredible. That's next level stuff. Yeah, I mean, I one time in college, I ate a baker's dozen grilled cheeses because people told me I couldn't. And so I ate 13 grilled cheeses in the mess hall. And so, like,
that's a loaf of bread, right?
It's an entire loaf of bread. That's what it comes down to. That's 26 slices plus the butter plus the cheese.
You guys are carrying on that. If my man can eat 50 hard-boiled eggs, I say eat 50 hard-boiled eggs.
That's exactly
cool.
It's cool hand.
I every time that I see, like, whether it's Bruce or somebody else post a picture like their before and afters, I just think to myself, man, Fat Ryan and Fat Bruce would have killed a Chinese buffet.
Just murdered it. Yeah, when I see Fat Ryan, I'm like, that's my guy right there. Me and Fat Ryan could have done some damage back in the day. And so, you know, this is a better life, man. And like and I'm not fat shaming anyone because I have been fat. So like, this isn't me saying like, you know, if you want to be doing this and be healthy in your weight, like, I'm all for it. And so I'm all about everybody being on their own path, and whatever they're doing. People that I'm working with now who are like trying to lose weight and they're just getting into DDPY, I'm not talking to them about nutrition because that's what they're going to be working on. And so I'm saying to them, you want to come get a little bit more flexibility, you want to build some strength, awesome. I want to take you through this level 1 workout and show you how this DDPY stuff works. Everybody's got to come to their own deal on it. And that for me, because I've had people say to me, like, what could we have done? Like, what could, you know, like, you were really fat. Like, what could we have done? Like, I was on a podcast with a friend of mine who's like lost some weight on his own. And he's like, what could we have done to help you? Like, my buddies were talking, and people, like, you don't realize when you're that big, people are talking about you like, we should probably have an intervention around this guy because he's so fat. Like, he'll probably die. And like, that's a real thing that happens, which I didn't know. Now I lose the weight, people are like, man, you would come down the hall and I would hear you breathing and I would like wonder if you were okay just walking. And I'm like, wow, that's really scary. But people have conversations and they're like, what would have been different? And I have to say, like, nothing. Like, I had to come to this. Like, it had to be, I had to be in so much pain that I had to make a choice, and I had to hit a bottom where it was like, this is where I need to be right now, and I need to do what I can with what I got in front of me. And so it's not going to be it's not going to be at the speed that I want. It's not going to be eating the way I want to eat. It's just going to be everyday disciplined living. And so, you know, but how did that switch flip? I don't, you know, I got to a point where it was intolerable. You know, it was intolerable being as big as I was. And so I knew that this was going to be, you know, my chance to do something about it. And so, you know, people have to come to that, and I don't have the magic bullet for that. I don't know what people need for that magic ingredient. And if Dr. Tom could sell that to somebody, he would. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like that's the stuff.
It is
actually
the magic bullet is available at
BeUnstoppableAthletics.com.
Yep.
They're actually jack straps. If you get the jack straps.
In all seriousness, Tom, did you think you were going to come on here and attribute a big driving force to you creating a Facebook group? Like how cool is that?
It got me so excited I had to switch rooms because I knew I was going to scream and yell about this topic. So I wanted to make sure I can get right in Mark's face. No, honestly, and that's, the grand scheme of doing these challenges, keeping people accountable. That's the number one reason we did it. To hear those little stories, we hear little stories all the time, which are super, super influential. And then we hear a story like this, Mark, and I'm so excited for you. And I'll tell you, man, I am so amped up based on your excitement. And I know you're going to be an amazing instructor because we all privately as instructors have this conversation all the time. There's a lot of people that do a transformation and they say, well, the next logical step is to be an instructor, but they don't have the passion to help people, right? Or they don't have the skills to actually be a skilled instructor. So they just go through, they pay the money, they go through the program, they do nothing with the instruction. And like, I'm so excited to know that you're really to the test and you're going to change lives.
And I appreciate that coming from you guys. I've worked out with everyone here except Boz, but I do watch Boz fight in the alley on the internet on his Facebook Live. So I do watch Boz with his Oculus.
You can check that out on bumfights.com.
Bumfights.com. He's eating cake out of dumpsters. But with you guys, I've taken classes with all of you, and I've watched you work. And it's, for me, like, I know that I have a skill set that lends itself to this. What I didn't know was how difficult this actually is. I can do all the moves. And I thought, well, being able to do all the moves is going to lend itself easily to instruction because I'm personable. I've got a lot of skills in terms of talking to people. I'm going to be able to just call out these things real easily, and it's going to come ho-hum. It is not that way at all. And so I have been very lucky. I have Heather Berkowitz working with me as my mentor. She's been around forever.
Oh,
She's
you poor thing.
She comes at me in a way that keeps me humble. And for me, that's important because I can get full of myself and think, I know what I'm doing okay. And what I need is people to say specifically where I'm not doing well, because then I can improve. And so I just did an L1 with Stacy. She was the only one there who you guys have had on the program, and she's amazing. And she was the only one who showed up to my live. Everyone said they were coming. Nobody showed. One-on-one, I was doing my L1, and it was the best one I've done yet. And it's because I had specific feedback. And so for me, like, I have so much more respect for the work that you guys do teaching this than I did. Like, I was just like, oh, you're just calling out breathing and stuff and like getting people in positions. What is that? That's like nothing. I can do that in my sleep.
I mean, you pretty much nailed it. That is what we do.
It is what it is. But getting there is not like I need the reps. And so Travis was texting me about getting reps in. And that for me is absolutely true. Like, I got to get these reps in because it is not as easy as you guys make it look, or as DDP makes it look, or Hayden makes it look. Like, these guys make it look flawless. And not just the left and the right stuff, which is its own nightmare, but transitioning from one move to the next move, getting the breathing cues, all of the stuff that I'm doing, the subtle, like, important stuff that's crucial to, I'm breathing in and then I'm exhaling as I'm bringing it in, like, knowing that, and I'm spreading the fingers, all the specifics about what I'm doing as I'm doing it is so crucial. And so I took that stuff for granted. I have a greater appreciation for the work that you guys do, and to be someday on that level where I'm, a peer is going to feel awesome. And for me, like, I didn't come to this thing to do fly by night, lose a bunch of weight, and then go right off into the sunset. Like, I'm in this thing all the way. Yeah. And so I'm not looking to gain this thing back. Like, that's not my life. Like, my life is going in one direction here and it's going forward. Yeah. And so part of that transition for me is taking it to this next level. And that's what I'm here to do.
So do you have a shock the first time you started to talk all the time whilst doing the moves and then realize
it's insane?
My heart rate's
170. I'm like, what is happening? Like, my chart's off the roof, and I'm like, what is going on here? I'm in down dog, and I'm like, I actually need to take this as a resting position because I've been talking for 50 minutes. Like, I need to just chill here in down dog for a second and just kind of hang out. Like, I'm just going to do some inhale exhale myself here. Like,
that's what I do a lot of times. I call extra breath sometimes, and it's just for me, Yeah,
I'm inhale exhale, man. I'm like, and I'm just making small talk. I'm like, let's hang out here. Let's walk the dog a little here because I need to walk the dog to get some breaths. Like, this is
and Ryan, I think Ryan's one of the most badass guys out there that's doing the program. And I remember one of the first classes you did, Ryan. You were like, "Holy shit, I'm actually talking to people. This is weird." You can put any flow together, but when you actually start to do the talking out loud, it's like, wait a second.
Yeah,
it's a whole different part of your brain. It's a whole different skill set.
And for me, and I've said it before, is all of my practice, I literally call every cue in my head. I do a lot of my own free flows, but it's all mentally because I work out in the gym or it's in a public space like in my office. And so I'm not like talking to myself like and calling all those cues. So having to do that, because I know where I'm going to go. And to guide somebody through that is difficult. And Travis, like you had just talked recently about having a small injury, and you'd asked me if I could fill in for you. And I was going to recommend you try and just do an entire workout without working out, because that is a practice.
I kind of did. And to be honest with you, that's kind of what I've been doing.
That's not easy.
2 to 3 weeks. It's funny because Tom and I talked about it, but what I've been doing is I've just been not engaging. And I've been holding myself in plank instead of going down and doing push-ups. And even the craziest thing, where my shoulder was actually hurting, laying down in pinfall and just the gravity of my shoulder pulling down hurt. So I had to literally hold my arm up in pinfall. But yeah, I totally changed my workout. A couple of workouts I did stand-up only.
Yeah, there's actually even a form of practice where it's blindfold calls, where you lead an entire flow and you don't see your class. You are just under the assumption that they are doing what you're asking them to do and that you are guiding them fluidly. And while that kind of takes away from us as teachers or guidance, and it's probably something best done in person, it's just a really interesting experience. And it's trying to see if you can get a group of people together and connect it. And granted, that spirituality point, it's not really part of DDPY, but I think there's something to that. And I think it's one of those practices that would make us all potentially better instructors. And stuff that it's just there's a lot of opportunity there that, you know, I even see it in Hayden's Wednesday classes. Like I'll burn 600 calories and he'll burn 315. And granted, it's later in the day for him and he might have already worked out once. And so while he's more focused on the screen and things like that, you can see it where, you know, if you're teaching twice a day, Travis, you can't engage fully. Not when you're spending all that time on the mat. You can't.
Well, to be honest with you, on top of my shoulder injury, I had to change it up a little bit because I lost too much weight teaching the classes, and you know, and I was even eating, but I got down to somewhere like 158 pounds, which I should be 170 is what I should be comfortably. And so I did. I even talked to Tom about that a little bit. I changed what I was eating, you know, and added a few more things, but
you need
backed
more
off
pizza.
of those workouts.
Yeah, you should try more pizza for sure. I mean, that's my dream is to someday get to a point where I say, you know, I got too small. The thing was, I got too skinny. I was working out 15
From
times a day.
maintenance mode to bulking.
And I don't know. I just had to, you know, I had to eat more.
Well,
so
I know
that's a dream scenario. I know it's all right, Travis.
I'm probably getting a couple of middle fingers at the screen for that right now, but
it's all right.
You know, here's a quick thing, and I mentioned this in an earlier episode, but just as much as, and I know somebody's probably going to tell me to go to hell when I say this, but I think just as much mentally as some heavy people have, us skinny people have the same thing. Like I was a runt growing up. I graduated high school, weighed 135 pounds. You know.
That was me.
No
and
one
Ryan
picked
in
me
6th
for
grade.
anything. But you know, so in my mind, in my head,
I was probably pushing 140.
Yeah. See, so in my head, I've always been the littlest, in my mind, the smallest dude in the room. You know what I'm saying? So when in a previous gym, we were having a contest going on, a weight loss contest, and some of the people got a little angry with me in there because I was eating what I wanted and not necessarily following guidelines, but still losing weight. I was like, hey man, you might be mad at me, but you don't know what's going on in my head. You know, so everybody's different,
and everybody's got their own stuff. And so for me, like I'm just obviously joking about someday. I mean, obviously it would be great someday to like have to be like I lost too much weight, but it is a struggle for everybody's got their own stuff going on, especially around like I'm trying to be strong and physically fit, and so the weight thing is nice and it's part of this deal, but like I want functional movement. I want to be able to like easily get out of my car. I need to move the laundry over in a swift move. Like these are the things that like I'm excited about. Like these are the victories where it's like I can bend over further, you know, when I'm grabbing the back of my calves and I'm folding forward. Like these are the things where it's like I see that progression and that keeps me fired up. That keeps me on the path. And so, you know, the weight loss thing is important, and it's certainly about long-term health for me and about being, you know, here and healthy for a long time. but the strength, the flexibility, the push-ups, the, getting the Dr. Tom shirt pick, without a shirt on is nice. Do I want to look like Dr. Tom with the, and just go straight up? Sure. Yes, we all do. But for me, this whole thing is, luckily I've always been handsome, but the trick of it is I want to be able to actually use this body that I have, and I want it to be functional, and I want to be strong in it and flexible. And so the fact that I can push up and wheel like easily at this point, when I a year ago was like struggling to like turn my body to get out of bed, that for me is where my head's at. Like that's the stuff that keeps me fired up and keeps me moving. And so this program is absolutely, and Dr. Tom's, challenges, and the piece of that that's important is the accountability, the team that's grown out of that. I was in the DDP yoga community. I was on the Facebook page. I saw the stuff, but this offshoot is where people are holding each other accountable, and you're having to post, and just having to post that screenshot that you did that workout keeps you in the game, because that day when you don't want to do it, you're like, I have a Facebook page where I have to put this thing. And that little subtle mind screw is like, that's the thing though. And so for me to like have met the guys that I've met, created the relationships, like Chris Payne was my dude, and he was like just sitting there, and he's like, I need help. And I immediately messaged him after I checked out his profile to make sure he wasn't a creeper. And he wasn't.
He is.
And so he is a little bit. He'll appreciate that. But I said to him, like, hey man, I'm doing this thing. I'm like over 300 pounds. Like, where you at? Let's talk about this. And from that has grown a friendship and a relationship, and just that we've pulled dudes into, and we have this, ongoing ability to like keep each other motivated on a daily basis. That stuff doesn't happen without the DDPY larger community. But this 100-day challenges each time, it's like, that's the stuff. And so that gift that you've given to the, in all seriousness, it's an absolute gift. And that you do this stuff because it's going to help people, not because you're going to sell more memberships and people are going to be on stoppableathletics.com.org and they're going to all, buy your merch. Although that's a nice offshoot too, probably. But they'll come to your jacked workouts, and they'll be part of the Sham Fam, and they're going to burn their boats, and they're going to get back on track. I know you guys are doing this to sell the stuff. I hit them all. I know you guys, and RTD Fitness. If you guys want to check out RTD Fitness, yes. RTD Fitness on Facebook, please join. Shameless plug. But that's where this thing is. This is not about I'm going to get rich doing this. This is not about this is going to be my golden ticket. I'm out here trying to help people the way I got helped, and you helped me that way, and DDP helped me that way, and Hayden and all the people who've contributed to the app over the years have given that gift. And so for me, that's where I'm at, which is this is the next logical step. I'm pumped on it, and I'm so excited to push through this. To be an amateur at something is exciting. Like, this is fun for me to like not be good at this right away. Like, if this was easy, everybody would do this. This is a huge amount of work to get to this point. And so I have such such respect for you guys for what you're able to do, and to be there someday is going to be incredible. I'm so psyched.
It's funny you mentioned the amateur aspect. It's one thing that I always learned. I remember when I first got to college, going there for an art degree with a major in photography, and my teacher, they'd asked about goals, and everybody's goal was pretty much to be a professional photographer. And at this point, my instructor was Dennis Grants. He is a well-respected, by many means, he'd be considered a professional photographer, well-published, multiple magazines, tenured at 2 different universities, incredible instructor. And he pointed out to us, there's nothing wrong with being an amateur photographer, because of the root of the word amateur is love. And that the minute that you're doing it for professional reasons is probably the minute that it becomes just your job. And it's really easy to get jaded or tired or burnt out if you don't have that love and that drive. And so it's like, I will forever be an amateur fitness instructor as far as I'm concerned, because the minute that I try to make a go at with it, and you have a bad month because you lost subscriptions or you lost money, are you doing it for the right reasons at that point? Because it's probably not true. So it's really important. Like, every time I hear this amateur professional kind of push, that's all I always think about Dennis Grants and him telling me that. And if you want to look at awesome photography, look him up. Dennis Grants, Grantz, incredible.
I have to stay teachable. That's what's important about this is, you know, in order to be a teacher, I need to be teachable, and I need to be able to accept criticism and feedback and hear what I'm doing well and what I'm not doing well, and then improve and bring that to the people who need this. Like, this workout isn't for me to get deeper in lunge. It's how do I help you get up from your knee into lunge someday? Like, that's the transition I had to make. I was down on my knee and I got up in a lunge. That took time. Let me help you do that. Like, that's where my head's at.
You had mentioned you'd mentioned earlier, obviously, the Viking Raiders, Viking Experience, War Machine, whatever the hell you want to call them. War Machine was their best name. Should have stuck with it. WWE and their rename, just garbage. Get that shit out
War
of
Machine
here.
was an incredible name.
Yeah, seriously. That's some wrestling talk, Boz. Suck it.
War Machine was a really good 8-bit computer game on the Amstrad
Laura says
CPC
suck it.
464.
What year was that too?
Laura says suck it.
Do you think they changed it because of the association maybe with War Machine from the UFC, the dude that killed?
No, they did not. They
just don't like war. They don't like the word war, was what it came down to.
They will not use the word war, and then also that was the name they had on the Indies, and it was registered to them. They had Pro Wrestling Tee Shop, all that stuff. You come over to NXT, they have to WWEify everything. You get a new name. That way, they own your name. They own your name. They own you, your likeness. Even though you're an independent contractor, you can't even go on Cameo as a member of War Machine and record a video as a member of War Machine without WWE getting their cutting out. No more streaming on Twitch. It's awful. They're basically in servitude right now. It's just terrible. But anyways, so you had said that DDP called you 2 weeks ago. You had a Facebook Friday shout out.
Very cool.
I mean, tell me that. I mean, what's that all about?
I was a professional wrestling commentator. I'm semi-retired now. I would do it if there's
two in a row.
Once. So you have 2 in a row. When you guys had Billy on, I was like, you're having pro wrestling commentators 2 weeks in a row. That'll never happen again. So I did.
Actually, Jim Ross is on next week.
Jim Ross is coming on next week. He's going to talk about his barbecue.
Get my luck, eh? My luck, eh?
Yeah, Jim Ross is. Mrs. Ross's baby boy will be on. But what I did
wrestling
was,
sucks. Sorry, what?
Wow, hurtful. So I was a huge pro wrestling fan. My buddy was training over at Killer Kowalski's school, the New England Pro Wrestling Academy is what it is now. It was a chaotic training center. It was Killer Kowalski's pro wrestling school. Before that, he went out and started training. So I went to Villanova with this guy in college, and he gets a bachelor's in psychology. He goes, I'm going to go be a pro wrestler. I was like the only person who said that was a good idea. So I was like, yes, that's a good idea. You should be a pro wrestler. We're like in our 20s. He's got a bachelor's degree from a good school. And he's like, I'm going to go be a pro wrestler. I was like, you should totally do that. Move to Boston, go be a pro wrestler. So he did. And he still is. And he actually runs the facility now, which is actually a super cool story. It's my buddy, Chase Delmonte. Shout out Chase Delmonte. So he goes out there. And so Chase is awesome. He's a great dude. And so he gets started. So I go out and I'm going to shows, and John Cena's dad is doing the color commentary, John Cena Sr. So he's doing the color commentary. He's getting tired of it, and he says, "You could do this. You could do this job." I say, "Yeah, you're right. I'm hilarious. Of course I could do this." So he backs out, and I get a shot. The promoter puts me on. He's like, "I booked you for 2 shows. You better not suck." I was like, "I don't plan on sucking." So I was incredible. Long story short, I was awesome. So I murdered it. So then I become, just saying how it is. So I murdered it. It was so I had a nice little run in the New England Indies as a pro wrestling commentator. It was a blast. And some of the guys now on NXT are on the main shows. Like I called Sasha Banks' first matches. Like I have connections to Tommaso Ciampa. There's a great interview that I did with Tommaso Ciampa.
The DDP guy.
And he does DDP. So I actually call him out on Insta sometimes, and it's funny. But so these guys are all New England wrestlers. A lot of guys came out of the school, and so one of them is Handsome Johnny, who is Ivar on WWE, and so he's just a buddy of mine. He's a great dude, solid dude. All these guys are really just super, super salt of the earth guys, and I'm so happy they made it. Like Sasha, all of them, they're just great people, and so the fact that they're like doing what they're doing is incredible. So he texted me and he says, "I'm going to the PC tomorrow. I'm going to work out with DDP for 3 days." And I'm like, "Oh, well, tell him, let him know how, it's DDP yoga's changed my life." He's like, I'll be sure to bring it up. So I just figure they're going to talk about it, whatever. So he calls me, the next night he's there, and he says, we're BS. And he's like playing with me because I know DDP's there, but he's like talking to me, and he's like, "Oh, let's catch up." And so we catch up, and I ask him how his injury's doing and how the workouts have been and how he's, ask him about his life and how he's doing. And he's like, "Oh, I got somebody here who wants to talk to you." So, and hey, brother, what's going on? Heard you lost some weight, man. I'm here with Todd. He's telling me, this is a buddy of his lost a bunch of weight, man. What's the story? So of course, that's my DDP impression for those who don't know.
Nailed it. Like we might actually have to put a disclaimer that it's actually not his audio. Yeah.
Have you considered re-recording the audiobook for him?
I might.
Don't just think it, ink it.
Positively unstoppable, brother. So he gets on and he says, tell me about. So I'm like marking out pretty hard. This is a big moment for me, and I'm on my couch with my wife.
Sense, you're Mark.
I'm Mark, and I'm on my couch with my wife, and she's just like looking at me like starry-eyed, like this is amazing. And I'm trying to keep it together because I'm talking to DDP, and I'm like, I used the time I think well, because what I did was I thanked him for the program, and I said, this thing of ours that you have created and given to us as a gift. And I actually got to tell Yoga Doc over text the same thing. Yoga Doc's actually from where I'm from in New York, which is incredible. That's a whole other deal. He's like literally lived a town over from me. I'm like, that's bizarre, but whatever. The home of DDPY. So DDP's on with me and we're chatting, and he's just like, he's like, yeah, brother. He's like, wow, I wish I could talk to everybody who has the kind of transformation, and I'm like, listen, you set this standard. You gave this to us. Like, the Facebook page, like Dr. Tom's 100 Days, I shouted you out. I gave you some love. I talked about the 100 days and the accountability and my boys and all of this stuff. And he's like, that's you guys, brother. That's you guys. You guys do the Facebook page. I'm like, but it comes from you. And that was the part I stressed with him. Like, this is part of who you are as a person, is why this all exists. And so I got to thank him, which felt important. And then he's, talking to me, when the world opens up, we're going to have you come to the summit, and we're going to do a summit again. I'm sorry we can't do it because of COVID, but we have people come in who lost a bunch of weight, and it's your story, and it's awesome. And so he said all super, couldn't have been nicer. Gave me a cell phone. I'm like, this is ridiculous. So then I don't have a pen, so I'm running around my house like trying to find like a paper towel and a pen to write his number on, and I'm like, I'm writing his number wrong. So I'm texting Todd. I'm like, do I have his number right? Because I don't want to text some random number like my story of losing 180 pounds. So I finally get his number. He's in my phone now. So we text every day. We don't text it. I've not used it since he told me to text him one time with the information, because I'm not that stupid. But just an all-time highlight of my life was getting to talk to TDP and thank him. And really, that's what it was about for me, was like, what you have given to us is a gift that I can't pay back. And so I got to talk to him about doing the level 1 and my plans with that, and just, how incredible this community has been to me and for me, and the workouts, are a huge part of that. But the positivity, the level, I mean, we joke all the time, and it's like, it's like almost cliche how positive the Facebook page is, but like, the work that happens in there is pretty amazing stuff, and the life-changing stuff that we see there that doesn't happen on the internet, and people aren't as nice to each other on the internet, frankly, as they are on the DDP Yoga page, probably because admins are throwing them out, which is fine. And certainly we all have stories about things.
Even when you get into the outskirt areas, the main pages, you get kind of lost a little bit,
Sure.
The 55,000 people page. But when you get into like Tom's group and Boz's group and whatnot, those I haven't had any issues in my group. I just think it's a blanket, now there's some knuckleheads that come in. I'm not saying they're not. Like, somebody posted in the group and said it was the 55,000 people group, and somebody said, I can't believe that this person said this to me. And I commented, I said, look, I'm from a small town of 25,000 people. The fucking jail was full. So that was 25,000 people. You don't think in a 55,000 group we're going to have some assholes?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Come on.
Yeah, that's what, and we've talked about it before. Is sometimes the group can be a bit soft, like, and there's probably some room for some harsh truths here or there.
Sure.
But in overall, like the fact that it's like sometimes you got to suck it up, and sometimes people are being mean because it's maybe that's how they get motivated. Like, I'd rather have somebody to tell me to suck it the fuck up and hit the mat than to say, oh, it's okay. Yeah, there's always tomorrow, because there's always tomorrow doesn't work for me.
It doesn't work for me either, and I don't get involved in those conversations. It's like It's like anywhere on the internet. I'm not interested in that conversation. My conversation is, you want to get accountability, come do Dr. Tom's 100 Days, and let's see what you got. And come over to the Sham Fam and do a workout with Travis. Like, check out what they're doing over. I'm back on track. Do those things, and then come tell me that this thing doesn't work. Right? Like,
and
that.
You're welcome.
Like, if you're, No, go ahead.
To come and shit talk in my group as well. By all
Sure.
means.
Yeah, and like there's places for that, and there's a lot of comedy out there. Like there's lots of rooms for jokes in all this thing, and still holding people accountable. Like you can bust balls and still expect people to do better. Like that's part of the deal here, right? Like you know,
that's our show.
That's what this is. Is that our new slogan?
That's what this is. That's what you guys are doing here. We're busting balls and we're holding people accountable. That's what this is.
Show name.
Yeah, right? I mean, that's what we're doing.
Title.
But I should add, come to the group and actually offend someone and be one of those toxic trolls that we get occasionally. I will bounce you hard.
Sure, and that's the cool thing is like, you know, there's but that the mindset, you know, when I see people come into the main page and they're like, I want to get recognized. There was one guy who was like mad at Sam about posting stuff and was like, I should have been recognized by DDP on Facebook Friday. Like you brought up my Facebook Friday, like that was like icing. I'm not in this thing, and I don't eat cake, but I'm not in this thing to get recognized by DDP. Like if you came to this thing because you want DDP to shout you out, and this is just like a PSA to everybody on the Facebook page.
Why
like, if that's your deal, why am I not getting called? Yeah. Bro, who are you? Nobody cares. Like I lost 180 pounds. I didn't win Positively Unstoppable, and I'm fine. Like I don't need to be part of the Unstoppable Four. I think they're amazing individually and collectively. They deserve to win, and it's awesome. Nobody called me. Nobody shouted me out. Nobody did a thing to me during that Positively Unstoppable. I was in it, but I didn't film myself well. I didn't do the beginning stuff that you're supposed to do. I didn't put a package together that made any sense, and that's on me. And so my package was the problem here. I didn't have the right package.
That's
created.
Hey, Mark,
your package is always.
I feel good about my package, but I didn't package my package.
Solid package.
It was tight, but it wasn't firm. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's harder to get your package where you need it to be than people realize.
We'll put a link to your package at the end of the show.
We'll show my package. We'll show my package.
If you're curious, watch Tom's BFR video about the leg placement of the straps. That will help you out.
I'm very excited about that. That's good stuff.
Dallas
leg straps, and I've watched it like 12 times.
Dallas has rung me once. I've met him twice, and I still don't think he has a fucking clue who I am. So even if he does recognize you and call you out, don't think he's going to remember you next year.
Yeah, and if that's why you're here, like you're not here for the
that's
right
not true.
Like for me, if you're here to get shouted out on a Facebook Friday, like it's nice and it felt awesome, and it was cool to hear him say my name correctly. That was like Mark DeCicco. I'm like, oh, that's me, cool. I'm not saying it's not neat, and I'm not saying I don't look forward to it. It was an awesome thing, but I'm here to not be someone who is unhealthy. And so I came here, as I told you guys, at the lowest possible point where I had zero options. I had to lose a bunch of weight and I had no other plan. So that's my mindset. So if you're here for that and you're here to get your life and you're doing the deal, awesome. If you're here because you want to get a shout out because you dropped a pant size, save it. Bring it somewhere else. Because that's not what this thing is, man. And so, you know, like, and that's a harsh truth. And people don't want to hear that, but like, you know, when I see people on the page who are like getting petty about getting called out, I'm like, dude, like go somewhere else, man. You want to get Twitter famous, go get Twitter famous. You know,
ego at the door.
Ego kills talent. Right. That's the thing. Like, what do you want here? Like, what are you doing? You're here because you want to get called. Like, no, like I'm sorry. Like that's not.
We've all had those conversations with Dallas, and it's really weird to say that you have the phone number of the guy who turned on the NWO, like you know, and you've talked to him, and you know it's like this like microcosm of a braggable moment. But like even when my video went live for the Motivational Monday, I didn't realize it until somebody had messaged me and they're like, "Hey, did you check the app?" And I'm like, "No, I haven't worked out yet." And then to see like my face on that, that was really cool. And then Dallas reached out to me that day, and that was really cool. But honestly, of all the feedback outside of my mom thanking me for not blaming her for making me fat, was Tom, and it was probably one of our first real genuine like deep interactions. Tom sends me this voice message, and then another voice message, and then another voice message, and that to me meant more than the call from Dallas did, because that was the respect of my peers.
Yep.
Dallas is not my peer. Dallas is somebody who did this, and he's up there.
Yeah.
And like I'll take that over that recognition any day of the week. To have somebody like Jake Order continuously say, "You, in my opinion, are the best transformation start to finish," and the fact that you hold like that, I'll take that every day of the week over somebody saying, "Good job, bro, keep it up." And
that's why I've told you I'm a Ryan Nichols guy. I'm a long game. You know, totally. I'm not a drop in here, lose 100 pounds, go get fat. Like like that's not what this plan is for me. I'm not on a roller coaster, and I'm not here to get recognized. Like, I'm here to lose weight and be healthy. And it's not just about the weight loss, folks. It's about me having control over, literally owning my life. And again, it's cliche, but guess what? Like, that's what I needed to do for me. If I'm a Ryan Nichols guy, because I want the long-term success. I see what he's done. That's the weight loss story I'm going for. I'm not going for, I started out, big, and then I lost a bunch of weight and I got big again. Like, I'm not on the seesaw here. This is, I'm heading towards a direction, and I don't know that that's what the future's going to hold for me, but that's what I'm striving for. That I need. At least you got that
mindset, though.
But I need to see that to know that that's where I want to be. I need to see long-term success in this deal, and that's what I'm shooting for, is long-term success. And that's not measured on the weight scale either, folks. That's
We need to shout out, by the way, since you called out Ryan for that. This is what, 2 years, right? This is the anniversary of 2 years since you
2 years. Actually, it's really funny.
Your weight.
My half weight was the day that you went bypass. Like, it's
crazy.
It's funny how
that's crazy.
Yeah,
I saw the half weight thing, and so 210 will be half for me. So I'm at 240 right now. So I'm going to hit the 210. My plan is to get under 200. That's where I'm headed, and that has no time frame on it. Like, it's just going to be a thing that happens. I hope to do it this year. I'm planning on getting some runs in, and I'm gonna win this already. I've already won. I have the medal. I've literally worn the medal, and this is, I'm setting the standard. Anybody who comes on this thing better have a medal on the entire time. I didn't wear this just for fun. This is setting. This is Smitty's hashtag Smitty's run.
Jim Ross for next week.
Hashtag build Smitty tough. If you're not Smitty tough, you don't belong on here, as far as I'm concerned.
Damn right.
If you don't get Smitty tough, don't bother even coming on the podcast. Just save it. Save it.
All I'm saying is, Mark, if Ryan is your example, just don't. I would suggest not finding 3 other goons and starting a podcast, because his story hasn't been on the page since this started.
That's not a coincidence. And I told you, I have a dollar store crew of you guys. Like, we're already sitting in the background, just dollar store version of you guys. We're gonna have a dollar store version of your podcast. It's gonna be cheaper. We're gonna
week off.
Yeah, and you guys can take a week. We'll just.
I'm not editing it.
All right, guys, we are going to get our hype mix added to the list here. We're going to have Mark. I don't know, Mark, if you knew that was coming at you, but what we'd like to do, we've made a Spotify and Apple. Where else are we?
Amazon.
Amazon. We've made a Better Hit the Mat podcast hype list, and that hype list consists of all of the guests, and we also have chosen a song. So we're going to ask you to choose a song and let you get a minute to think about it, because what we're going to do here is every 15 episodes, we are going to add another round for us boys here. So, Boz, Tom, and Ryan, we can start with you, Boz, if you'd like to get yours.
That's easy. I said it last week. I'm a Dog and I Like Socks by Psycho Stick.
Okay. And that's Psycho Stick. That's PSYCHOSTICK. Yeah.
Yep. Who also, by the way, on Facebook every Thursday, I think it's every Thursday, they do a live gig and have donations, and they give half of what they make to charity. They are one of the best friggin' bands on the planet. If you like,
did you say the title of that was "I'm a Dog"?
I'm a Dog and I Like Socks is the full title.
All right, Tom, you got one?
I do. So if you guys haven't watched the Beastie Boys documentary yet, so Heather and I, every Friday night, we watch a live concert on YouTube or something, just kind of because we miss music.
Me too.
We watch I'm a huge Beastie Boys fan, so I have another idea, but Live at PJ's by the Beastie Boys, put that on the list. It's funky. It's not hard, but Trav, you'll dig it. But
Live at PJ's?
Live at PJ's, yeah.
Okay.
They get to kind of play their instruments, which they normally don't do.
Yeah, they don't
Fun
do very
song.
often.
Fun song.
Nice.
Okay,
Brian.
I went with a hip hop track last time. I'm gonna kind of keep that, but keep it a bit heavier. So I'm actually gonna go with a cover of Kendrick Lamar's "Humble." Speaking of which, because we keep mentioning that word today, so it's by a band called Our Last Night. That's like a post-hardcore version of that song. I use it in a ton of my Instagram videos. It just hits heavy, it drives, and it's just fucking mean. But at the same time, it's funky as hell. So it's gonna be Our Last Night's "Humble." Originally by Kendrick Lamar.
Okay.
Good.
All right.
Man,
and I had two that I was choosing from. I think I'm gonna go with the first one just because the main one that I want, and I'll tell you, this is my hype song. I listen to it 4 to 5 times a day, but it's a CT Fletcher hype mix, and it's a lot of motherfuckers, and it's a lot of get your fucking ass up. So I don't think I want to do that really, because
is that even available on streaming services?
It's on basically what someone did is they took a little talking track and they put some
you've sent it to me.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna forego that because of the language. But I'm going with Jane's Addiction Mountain Song.
Good song. Yeah.
Like a bit of Jane's.
All right, what do you got for us, Mark?
Pressure's on. Okay, so I am a big hip hop head, so I think I got to go hip hop heavy here. I'm gonna go Jay-Z, Eminem, Renegade.
Excellent
choice. Because that song hits hard,
yes.
And the beat is hard, and it gets your heart up.
If I know that I'm gonna do a bunch of push-ups, it's Mobb Deep Shook Ones 2.
Shook Ones is so good.
It's just like,
solid.
Yeah, let's go.
Yep.
Nice.
Good deal.
So this starts a second hype list.
Correct. This will be the number 2.
Because we're an hour and a half on the first one, and if you're going to use it for a workout, you can hit shuffle, get a good mix in there. So we'll keep providing these.
Absolutely.
Love
and
it.
Now the regular question on every episode thus far. We didn't really touch on it much, but you are a diehard Mets fan. So
Correct.
I need to know who is going to win in this tag team fist fight. You got Diamond Dallas Page and Jake the Snake Roberts versus Jacob deGrom and Noah Syndergaard after he's recovered from his Tommy John.
All right, so when Noah Syndergaard said he was 60 feet 6 inches away in the World Series when they were playing against the Royals, that dude is ready to fight. He's the son of Odin. He is Thor. Jacob deGrom is just going to sit and watch. So there's no hot tag. Just Jacob deGrom just hangs on the apron the entire time, and Noah Syndergaard just comes in and just drops the hammer on both of them, takes them both out, done. And he hits the DDT on Jake, takes out Diamond Cutter on Dallas, hits them both with their moves because that's how disrespectful Noah is as a human, and he gets the pin 1, 2, 3, takes them both out by himself. Jacob just basically is a valet manager essentially. He's not even really there to fight.
Yeah, he's Virgil.
Yep, he's a Virgil at best.
He's the he knocked you the fuck out guy.
Exactly. He'll talk and he'll but he's not going to actually get involved in the fisticuffs because he's a champion and he's a Cy Young winner and he can't really mess with his. But Noah's already messed up his shoulder, so he's ready to just tussle. He's looking to fight. Yeah,
that ligament's stronger than ever.
He's coming just straight to the face, throwing those fists.
I mean, I didn't understand any of that, but it sounds really exciting and something
It is
I'd like
exciting.
to see.
It is exciting.
Spring training started, man. Baseball started today.
Follow Noah Syndergaard on Instagram. You'll be glad you did.
Yeah,
he spends a lot of time without a shirt on, but he's hilarious. He's like Dr. Tom, actually. But
he looks really good, though. So
he does look good without a shirt on.
If you had those flowing locks, you would be shirtless most of the time.
It's an actual fact. That's an actual fact.
All right, so Tom, we didn't have a segment last week from you, but we have got a fairly controversial one this week, I think.
All right, guys. So this is a pretty topical topic, and it's a pretty controversial topic, as Ryan mentioned. So the question today is, can a person be fit but fat? So I want to make sure that we go through this, just letting you guys know. None of us have any sort of personal opinions on this. This is just basically, as we've looked at every single topic, based on the science and the logic. So what I want to start off by mentioning is that previous research provided some evidence that people can be fat but fit. They can have the same similar cardiovascular health to someone that is thin but unfit. Now, these findings have been the driver for the current healthy at every size movement. This is the HAES movement. Now, the HAES advocates don't claim that everyone is healthy no matter what their size, but some extremists do go to that extreme and say that that's what the movement's all about. But the core principles of the movement state that they reject the use of weight, body mass index, or body size as proxies for their health. Additionally, they call for health policies and personal practices that support health and well-being without requiring a change in body size, weight, or shape. So, for example, the movement supports eating well-based based on hunger, satiety, nutritional needs, and pleasure, not for weight control. And it supports the right to enjoyable physical activity for people of all sizes, abilities, and interests, if they choose to participate in exercise. Now, this movement has led to controversial proposals for health policies to prioritize physical activity and fitness above weight loss. And they also state that being physically fit could mitigate negative effects of being overweight on heart health. Now, according to a new landmark study published by the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology, this may not be true. This study sought out to clarify the link between activity, body weight, and overall heart health. Now, the controversial ending to this paper states, quote, "One cannot be fat but healthy." This is the first nationwide analysis to show that being regularly active is not likely to eliminate the detrimental effects of excess body fat. Our findings refute the notion that physically active lifestyles can completely negate the deleterious effects of overweight and obesity. Now, a little bit about this topic. This is a really, really well done study. The research used data from 530,000 working adults of the average age of 42 years old in Spain. They were put into groups according to activity levels and by body weight. So 42% of the participants were considered normal body weight with a body mass index of 20 to 25. 41% were considered overweight with a BMI of 25 to 30. And 18% were considered obese with a BMI of 30 or over. Then the researchers looked at the cardiovascular health by categorizing them for diabetes, high cholesterol, and high blood pressure, all of which are major risk factors for stroke and heart attack. Now, after investigating the associations between BMI, activity level, and risk factors, researchers concluded that any level of activity meant that it's less likely for an individual to have any of the three risk factors compared to having no exercise, with the risk of high blood pressure and diabetes decreasing in increased activity levels. Now, this is really important because this tells us that everyone, irrespective of their body size, should be physically active to safeguard their health. However, the study showed greater cardiovascular risk for overweight and obese participants compared to those of normal weight, regardless of how much exercise they do. Now, the participants who are obese and active are twice as likely to have high cholesterol, 4 times as likely to have diabetes, and 5 times as likely to have high blood pressure as those who are normal weight but completely inactive. So the conclusion of the study states, quote, "Exercise does not seem to compensate for the negative effects of excess weight in respects to our heart health." Now, it should be noted that this finding was also observed overall between men and women when analyzed separately. So the thing that we need to talk about here and what we must get out of this study as the final thought is this is a very, very comprehensive, well-conducted study. Weight loss should be and should remain a primary health target when making health policies and is equally important to promoting active lifestyles. So guys, I know that's a lot. It is just one study. We always talk about meta-analysis and things like that, but this is one of the most well-done studies. It was just released this year. I was wondering if any of you guys had any sort of feedback or anything that you wanted to talk about regarding the study or any of the findings.
Well, I know personally the healthy at any size or healthy at every size movement is, I mean, it's obviously controversial, and I think it's really hard to be in one camp or the other, very anti or very pro. I think there are benefits to both aspects. And I know you didn't necessarily focus on that aspect, or the study did not necessarily focus on just that movement alone, but I think that there are plenty of positives when it comes to body positivity. And I think that those things are a great thing because they are a direct result of decades of body shaming and obesity issues that people have and they take into. But I also think that healthy at every size, it works kind of the opposite way too. Kind of what we were talking about with Travis is say it can lead to significant eating disorders for some people as well. And so there's just something to it. And I think that in the end, it's kind of like how they summed it up is the end goal is shouldn't necessarily be focusing on the scale, but don't completely ignore it at all times. It's okay to look at those markers with the clothes fitting better and the the flexibility and mobility and better heart health and being able to do 10 push-ups and not want to die. Those things are all very important, and your pant size won't necessarily determine that. But I promise you, if you keep working on that, that weight will come off, and in the long run, you will see a better life. I was there. I was morbidly obese. I was pre-diabetic, probably diabetic. I was afraid to go to the fucking doctor, so I couldn't even tell you what I really had wrong with me. I do know that when I had to go to my yearly checkups for my wife's health insurance, it wasn't fucking good. And every time I had a worse one, our rates went through the roof, and I was pissed. But who was I mad at? Was I mad at them? Probably not. I was mad at myself. And I can tell you that losing weight and making changes and getting better blood work and having better blood pressure, that was a good thing. And it's always going to be a good thing. And for me personally, I take pride in that. I take pride that my resting heart rate is fantastic. I take pride in I can, for the first time in my life, run up and down these stairs and literally not want to die. I take pride that I don't stop breathing 55 times a fucking night trying to sleep, because I did. My wife would wake me up scared because I'd stop breathing, and I don't have those issues anymore. But in my head, well, I still ran, I still played baseball, I could still throw an 85-mile-an-hour fastball, and when I'm out there coaching my kids. So in my head, I was healthy because I was active. But let's be honest, I'd go work out at Cardinal Fitness. I'd put 45 minutes in at Cardinal Fitness, and then I'd go to Noodles and Company and I'd eat 3 buffalo chicken sandwiches because I'd worked so goddamn hard. I need to refuel. No, that wasn't the right mindset. But up here, I felt good about myself. I was never ashamed of my size. I was never ashamed of being big. I was always very, very positive about who I was as a person. I was very confident, and I still am confident.
Never.
Yeah. Well, confidence gets mistaken for cockiness quite often, and I am sure of what I am, and I value myself, and I will always value myself regardless of what people think of me. Call me a dick, call me a prick, call me cocky, whatever you call me, but at least you're talking about me. And,
I thought you were.
So.
Oh, that was an invite. Sorry.
I as a morbidly obese person too, I feel obligated to kind of talk about this. So I'm not currently morbidly obese, although my BMI is still over 30. I'm 240 and I'm 5'10". So my BMI is still higher than I would want it to be. And so
we're about the same.
Obviously I'm working on that, and I think for me, a lot of what Ryan was saying rang true. I had severe sleep apnea to the point where, like, I was on a BiPAP. The highest level turned up to, it was a spinal tap. It was turned up to, 1,000,000. Like, it was, I had the highest level of that possible. My wife woke me up afraid I was not going to breathe. When I realized I had this bad, I couldn't sleep. I didn't wake up in the morning feeling like I had gotten a night's rest. And the long-term impact of that, carrying that weight, and still, like, I could walk, 10,000 steps a day, but still have these issues. And so I don't think that anybody who's trying to lose weight is going to say to themselves, well, if I just work a little harder and I don't eat better. I was diabetic in terms of, like, where my numbers were with my A1C when I was at my heaviest, and I could still do a bunch of physical things. Like, I could get up and down stairs. I was huffing and puffing, but I would force myself to take the stairs, because I would tell myself, if I just did these, like, physical things, I'll at least be physically better and still be really, really heavy. And so, and I'm a Farley guy. Like, I relish in the fact that I was a bigger dude, and that was part of my identity. For me, I can feel good about myself as a person and know that I'm a good person at any size. That's a separate discussion. And I've always been proud of myself at whatever level I'm at, because I'm doing the best I can at any one day. And that's important. And everybody shouldn't beat themselves up no matter what size you are. And that's not going to get you to where you want to be. But in terms of my health, the impact of me losing the weight, like, I went to my primary and was like, I'm just here on a victory lap. Like, I need to show you that I did this, because you didn't do a whole lot to help me. And I'm now going to just be in your face about it, because, this was something that I took seriously, and I did. And so, that long term, me knowing that all my numbers are where they need to be, and I get blood work done and all my numbers are exactly where they should be, and the fact that I didn't have more health issues, when I went and met with the psychologist as part of my process for getting the surgery, the psychologist said, I said to him, like, hey, I'm actually fairly healthy for a 400 plus pound guy. Like, I only really have this, like, bad sleep apnea and this, like, diabetes thing. Everything else, all my other numbers are good. He's like, for now. you know, and that's the truth. It's a progressive thing. So while that, you know, in my head I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of a rude thing to say, but he's right. You know, like there's no way for me to have lived at that weight for a long period of time. People don't live at that weight in a comfortable way, in a heart healthy way, you know, for a long period of time. And my goal is to be here for a long time. So I don't want anyone to put themselves down and say, oh, well, that means if I do activity, to Ryan's point, if you do activity on that level and you do your nutrition, you will 100% lose weight. There's no scenario where you don't lose weight as part of this process and bring those other health factors back into play. You just, I don't believe you, because then you're not being honest about one or the other. You're not being honest about the time you're putting in your exercise, or you're not being honest about your nutrition, which is where most people, myself included, over time have lied to myself and said, oh, well, I can have this sandwich with this, you know, giant piece of bread because I did this walking today. I did 10,000 steps, so I can have this giant sub or this 15 slices of pizza. Like, that's not how, I mean, it's, you know, but like,
or for
I mean,
some people, you know, it's hard, just muscle memory, you know, just getting that type of food out of their system. You know, not everybody has that drive to get rid of what they need to get rid of. And they're just used to, okay, well, this is what I eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's what I've done my whole life, you know.
Yeah, I mean, mention intermittent fasting to someone like that, they're like, I can't go that far without eating. I'm like, I know you can't now. That's the point. You have to, like, you're going to run a 5K. I can't run a 5K. Of course you can't. You have to train up to the 5K. It's that same thing. I want to ask Tom, though.
There you go.
Subcutaneous fat versus visceral fat, does that have any impact on these results? Because they say about people who look normal, they seem healthy, but their organs are surrounded by fat, and they're really unhealthy. Yet someone could be a bit bigger externally and actually be more healthy.
So just having the excess body weight on your body, and it doesn't matter if it's muscle, it doesn't matter if it's fat or what type of fat it is. Obviously, visceral fat, they've shown in studies, has significantly more impact when it comes to health over time, right? So that's why men with large beer guts that have very, very tight skin that don't look like they're big people, they can be having some of the bigger diseases. But it is overall body fat. Now, we have to talk about BMI, because BMI is obviously skewed for some people. But again, they can use this as a guide to separate people in studies. That's the reason why they still use it. I don't individually think that people should use it for their own personal, you know, am I obese, not obese? You should understand if you are overweight or underweight. You know, you should be able to figure out just by looking at yourself and knowing how you feel. One of the major studies showed that you have a 50% reduction in your health risks at the first 10 to 15% of your fat loss. So it doesn't have to be getting to your end point before you get the health benefits. Most of the health benefits of any diet you'll see in the initial weight loss. It's the excess weight. And again, I totally Ryan brought up the great point of body positivity and things like that. We don't all have to look like The Rock or whatever people feel is that an elite form. If you just lose
The Rock's BMI is probably like 42, right?
He's more
easy.
He's morbidly obese. Yeah, morbidly obese.
I on the British records, I am morbidly obese. I know I'm not small, but people don't look at me and think you're morbidly obese because I've got those lead bones we talked about.
I mean, I qualify for the coronavirus shot in my state because I have a BMI over 30. And so that's one of the comorbidities. And so, you know, I would argue that I'm healthier now than at any time, even when I was in my lower, you know, when I was a kid, I wasn't this healthy because because of the amount of work that I'm doing and the nutrition I'm putting in my body and the complete lack of bad carbs and processed sugars and all the things that aren't in my diet now compared to when I could eat a bagel as a high schooler and go through my day and think like that was, you know, that was breakfast, right? Like a giant pile of cream cheese. Like that's how I ate. To now where it's like it's protein, it's
fuck the bagel, just give me the cream cheese.
Right. And so but that BMI gets tricky because but I've also dropped like almost 20 points in my BMI. So that stretch of going from that way higher BMI based on my, you know, my activity level and my nutrition to now I know that I'm having the health benefits because my blood work matches it. I go to the doctor every 3 months based on my surgery and I get my blood work done. So I'm, you know, anecdotal at best, but you know, I know that I have health benefits from the loss that I've had, and it's directly linked to the exercise and the nutrition, both. You know, you can't outwork a bad diet. You guys have said that, and that's the absolute truth. Yeah. And you know, I'm living proof of that. That you can eat however you want to eat. It's going to show. You know, if you feel like you're just going to do DDP yoga, or you're going to do any kind of working out, and you're just going to be able to eat however you want, that it has not been my experience ever effective for me. So.
It's a total package scenario. And the great thing that you brought up was just all the things that you're doing. It's not one individual thing, and everyone's looking for that one thing they can work on. You have to work on all of those. And these, again, the weight loss is a side effect to doing all those things, which is a great thing. Instead of focusing on the weight loss and water.
Yeah. I drink 200 ounces. I drink 200 ounces of water a day, and that's not me bragging. I literally pee nonstop. Because I'm in the bathroom 10, 15 times a day peeing because I drink that much water, and my body needs that. The cells need it. All of my organs need it. For people to say, well, I eat okay, but they're eating foods, all day long. Your body has to process food, take a break, have some water, process food. And that's been my experience. That's what's been successful for me. I'm not here to tell anybody how to live their life, but I've lost 180 pounds, and the way that I did that was I eat, and then I don't eat, drink water, eat, don't eat, and it's about 3.5 to 4 hours between meals, and I have about 5 sometimes. I'll have a little snack at the end, so I eat a fair amount throughout the day. I'm never hungry, but I let my body process the food as fuel throughout my day to get me through the day. And so when people when I post on DDP Yoga page and I show my before and after, people are like, what do you eat? I say I've had gastric bypass surgery. I eat small meals, high protein, no bad carbs. But they ask it like they're going to do it, and they're not. And so, and I don't blame them. Like that's a lot for people to hear. Like, to Bob's point, you can't just go run a 5K. Like I can't do that now. Like I can't do intermittent fasting because I don't know how. Of course you don't. But if you're asking me what I did, that's what I did, and that's what I do, and that's how I've had the success that I've had. That's not an accident. It's so. If you want what I've got, you got to make some serious level of sacrifices, and not just like kind of think you can sort of skirt it or have snacks in between, or it's just a couple of grapes, or it's just a couple of thises, or it's just a couple of that.
What you eat in private shows up in public every single time. But let me reiterate, guys, this is not an easy topic to discuss. This is probably potentially a trigger point for some people that we know listen, and we want to let you know that if you have questions, Tom can answer them. I will probably make a joke about it. Travis will, his signal.
Send it to Tom.
I'll send it to Travis. Forward it to Tom.
Send it straight to Tom.
But
and I'll just make it look pretty.
That's right. In all seriousness, it is a hot button topic, but it's important to talk about, and we don't have to be afraid to talk about it, and it's okay to discuss it too. And if you don't agree, let us know why. Let's talk about it. There is some gray areas with certain aspects of this, but when it comes down to the science and logic, let's not lie to ourselves, and let's really break it down and look at it objectively, and because it is important. And in long term, your numbers might look good now. My numbers looked great as a 300-pound 24-year-old. But as a 360-pound 32-year-old, they weren't as pretty, and they won't be. They're going to get uglier as you get older, and your body breaks down.
One of the smartest cardiologists I've ever spoken to, he said this just flat out: you never see a 300-pound 7-year-old, right? They just don't exist. Unfortunately, when he was getting a lecture to athletes. It was about linemen, actually, that I was watching. And he says, you guys have very, very high level athletes. You're going to die before you're 70 just from carrying that excess weight. And your heart doesn't know any different, right? Your heart doesn't know any different. Your body is built in a specific way. And it's such a scary topic to think about that. But I hope you guys appreciate the way that we presented this topic. So we just wanted to present just some science, just the topic for conversation. We know that there's a lot that can be involved in that with just kind of misconstruing the facts and just kind of adding your own thoughts. And that's cool to do, but just remember there's science out there that just supports everybody's viewpoint. Find the science, see what works best for you, and just realize what the risk factors are. And unfortunately, carrying excess weight does carry some risk factors to disease, and it's sad, but it's true.
Absolutely. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for covering that.
Yeah. I'm sure that's going to be the discussion point, and we're definitely going to get some feedback on that. So,
yeah.
But I suppose it's been I cursed it by saying we're going to do shorter shows, and we ran super long.
You had a second color commentator on. I mean, that's what you guys get for bringing commentators on. What do you think's going to happen?
That's what it is. It's a pattern. It's a pattern. So what's going to happen now is Mark's going to sing us out, because I saw a Q&A thing that his wife posted on Facebook, and it said that he's really good at singing in Spanish. So take it away, Mark.
Okay, so no, I mean, if that's what you guys want to hear more about, we can do soñar lo imposible, soñar, creer lo imposible, creer. That's some Don Quixote, folks.
He
That's
pronounces it correctly as well.
Yeah,
I don't know.
South
I know my
American
Spanish.
pronunciation.
I have it.
Nice.
Do you guys know what he said?
Well,
He said
yeah.
Tom Soroka sucks. I don't know if you know that. That is in Spanish. That's what it said in Spanish.
It's Spanish for that. Yes.
Yeah. Well done. Well done.
Well, as always, guys, if you want to reach out to us, if you want to tell us how much you hated what Tom said or how terrible that Spanish singing was, feel free to
They didn't hear mine, don't worry.
feel free to shoot us an email at hitthemapodcast@gmail.com. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell on YouTube so you can know when we drop new content. Also, be sure that you're rating and reviewing on all your favorite podcasting apps. I'm not going to mention them. The only one that's worth mentioning anymore is Pandora, because they love us. Please just keep sharing our stuff, because it's I think what we do here is important, and hopefully you guys do as well. If you need to find me, you can find me on social media on Facebook and Instagram at Burn the Boats Fitness. You can find the page by just searching Hit the Mat Podcast. You can also find the hype mixes, which we're going to have number 2 coming up. If you search BHTM hype mix, it should show up on on Amazon, Apple, and Spotify.
Cool.
Boz?
Me? You can find me at Back on Track Living on Facebook and Instagram and other places, but not TikTok.
Nope.
Definitely not. Or you can find me on Ryan's t-shirt.
It's true.
Yeah. Trav?
All right. Instagram, The Real Shamrock Fitness. Facebook, Shamrock Fitness, a DDP yoga experience. Also, transition coach over there with my good friend. Yes, I didn't have Cash Me Outside stuck in my head this time. But yeah, you can catch myself and Dr. Marcel Dore and Kristen Nava for around 18 classes a week. So come check us out over there. And smitty'srun.com. Yes, sir.
One of those.
Love it.
Thomas?
Tom.
I'm going to forgo, guys. I'm just going to talk about the 100-day challenge is ending within the week. So when this airs, we're going to have our second 100-day challenge. So since Mark talked so much about it, if you guys are looking to get in on it,
100-day.
Yeah, it's going to be 6 in a row that we've done. But we usually do a week in between there, so you'll see that pop up. I'm going to forgo my own plug. I'm going to go to RTD Fitness. If you're looking for a great class, go check out Mark's class, because we all know what it means to have people to get started with our L1 journey. And so if you're looking to take a class, don't come to mine. Go check out Mark RTD Fitness.
That is very kind. This has been super awesome and an honor to be on here with you guys. I have a ton of respect for what you guys do here, and that's a fire logo. I don't know if you guys see that logo. It's fire. I may have gotten it from Ryan, but the thing to know is, what you guys do for the community is incredible, and this is a small part of that. But what you do with individuals and the way you're changing people's lives is an incredible thing, and I'm super honored to be on here. Thank you for asking me, and check out RTD Fitness. Give me a like. Check me out on the Facebook group, and we'd love to have you on a workout with me. So thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, Mark. So just grab your beverages, gentlemen, and it just remains for me and Mark to sing you out. Do you know the Desperado song? We could do that.
By the Eagles?
Soy un hombre muy honrado que me gusta lo mejor.
I want the Boz version of that. I'm not singing on that track. I want more Boz. Give me more Boz on that. That is hot hell Boz. Low Boz.
You can't see me. This is a thing, right?
We got to cool off on that. We got to cool off.
Hit the mat, guys. See you next time. Bye.
Better Hit the Mat podcast.
There we go. Satisfied is questionable. Look at Billy Kirkwood over here standing up. It's just better for the ergonomics.
Hey, you know what? First, you can blow it out your ass. Second, I always stand. Even when I used to go to a bar, I would move the chair to the fucking side.
So let me start with blowing it up my ass. Okay, let's up. Yep. I guess fuck this. Yep. All right, and then
take it to your right a little more, Ryan. If you take this to the right a little more, that both of them will be in perfect sight. That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to get an overlap here, man.
Hey, man, you're doing great. I just wanted your hard work to be shown. So yeah.
Ryan, soon he's gonna be like, just why don't you just sit off camera and we could just look at the camera.
Just fucking
moving
voice.
over.
I just want to stare at my merch.
Just go over there and hold that towel up.
But
Guys, Heather was on Napster. She was downloading a new Metallica CD, so I assume that's why everything's so slow.
Yeah, you're gonna end up with a bunch of Megadeth B-sides.
Damn,
she's down there in Kazaa.
Hey. My daughter saw me take it out, and she was like, "What's that? Can I have that?" I'm like, "Yes,
That's my Olympic medal."
It's a medal of a champion, of course.
There you go.
It says your daddy is a winner, and if anybody asks you, fucking tell them that.
You let them know. This guy's a champion. This guy is a champ. Gaming headset, mic, webcam. Nope, mic, headset.
Let's try that.
Oh,
hey.
Now we're cooking. Good thing we did the test.
We got the power hour.
That's bitter experience.
Mark, he's got to tell a plane which runway to land.
I'm ready to land this thing. Bring it home. It's gonna be your guys' highest rated podcast by like 1,000,000%.
Well, I think the lowest is like four thumbs down. So
all right, so that's not bad. So the bar is extremely low. That's fantastic.
He's literally Travis from last week. He's frozen completely.
Hey,
Travis Wi-Fi has been strong. Travis Wi-Fi.
This looks like PlayStation 1 like Vice City for me right now.
That's what I do. I kick everybody out of the house. I unplug everything that's Wi-Fi
Everything's
related.
unplugged.
Everything's unplugged.
As I watched you fight in the streets the other day on Facebook, you were fighting random thugs in the street eating cake out of dumpsters. It was incredible.
Yes, it was amazing. Yeah,
it was awesome. It looked so fun. I was like entranced, and I was just watching you throw fists at these dudes. And the one guy, he had the armor on his forearms. I'm like, he's never gonna punch this guy out. I'm rooting for you. I'm like, this guy's not. You can't get in. You can't get any shots in. I'm seeing you throwing the shots. I'm like, you might have to come to our punch on this.
Duck the punch, come back in before he gets the guard back up. That was it.
But he's get the guard, and the guard was like, it was serious.
Chains. It was chains.
It was chains. I know. I was watching it, and then you're eating cake out of the dumpster, and I'm like, that's not on the DDP nutrition.
The thing I love about that is you've got the hand controllers, so you're actually punching them, but to kick them in the face, you just push the thumb buttons, and his foot just appears in screen and goes.
Well, I was wondering how your foot worked because I saw your foot, like I saw the foot come in, and I'm like, how's he doing that? Because I had no idea. I'm sure there's nothing hooked up to your feet.
I'm literally right next to the box, so hopefully it works. Is this better?
And if it doesn't, you could just punch it.
He's sitting on top of his cable modem like a goddamn motherhead.
It's right there.
Squat on the modem and just keep it warm. Keep it warm with your body heat.
Squatty potty. You gotta support it.
I like the way it's sitting right at my asshole.
So sorry, Boz, you were gonna say something.
I covered it wasn't. Don't worry.
Okay. It was probably about Dunkin' lattes.
I do it to Boz all the time. Uh-oh.
Did well tonight.
Well, he said they're not gonna say
it.
They got him.
Okay, I gotta go. So much. I have to piss so bad.
Fuck your feelings. Fuck your feelings, and just fucking. This is what you don't do well. Like your fucking cues are garbage. All right, man. Like that's helpful.
Tom, if
do I need to
if you could just unplug your router and then just throw it on a fire, that would be great.
I'm gonna go pee. Talk to me later.
See ya.
Have fun with that.
Hashtag boss bitch.